Who you gonna call? Coonbusters. This is Dr. Andy Short. It is exactly 10:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Washington, D.C., and I am in the studio of none other than myself. I am hoping all of you have great Thanksgiving. All of you who think it's cool for people to be made and their land stolen, and you get a big fat meal, and you don't even know that the Indians that were up in Massachusetts were black. I have friends who are black Indians who were very traumatized by the holiday yesterday. And as a person, my people are Powhatan Indians. These are the ones that Pocahontas came from. That they raped her, and so all this stuff is very upsetting to me. I can't wait for the holiday to get over. It's Thanksgiving, or thanks for nothing, niggas and Indians. Okay. Well, greetings to all of you. Uh, I want to just say to you, and I have my special guest today is the Right Reverend Selmo Hayes from Sao Paulo. I'm sorry, not Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from. He's from Rio de Janeiro. He's a carioca negro. Okay, and we're going to be talking about Brazil and race and all kinds of stuff. We're going to be talking about all the little fake Ankh niggas who want to get into African religions. Maybe he can hook you up with the white candomblé or umbanda instructors so they can molest you, so you can get close to your African ancestral gods. He can
Not
break it
really.
down to you. Well, he don't want to do it, but all these little fake people who hate everything. Not one damn thing in history good ever came from the Bible, or all of the people who are patristic Black American parents and mothers and fathers like Harriet Tubman. All of them are bad, and yet you Ankh Negroes haven't produced one significant salient figure that has done something other than sold books, talk stuff, and raised issues instead of solving anything. So we're going, I will bring people who will tell you about Haiti too. And yep, you have a revolution and some of this stuff great, but the long term benefits of all this Africanity stuff that these people pushing, it's not that cool. Not only will any smart, forward thinking people in Latin America, the Caribbean, or Africa get angry when you bring this stuff up, but they will think you are crazy. Amare, the name is Selmo. Selma is a woman's name.
Yes.
So I spelled it right. He spelled it right. Black people, we get the white people's names right. We get black people's names from other countries wrong, even when it's spelt out. Selmo. Selma would be a woman. Some
Yes,
basic
indeed.
linguistic things. O in Portuguese means male. A or a means female.
Yeah.
Selmo. Now, I'm thinking of showing a couple of videos just so y'all can see. A lot of folks are going to Brazil, and they're going there to have sex with children, do all kinds of stuff. Their fascination with Brazil has nothing to do with the fact that there are 150 million black people catching hell. Many are hungry. The police in Brazil, uh, and their various types, kill 40, 50,000 people every year.
Yes, sir.
Reported in the United States in a bad year, even if you put in all the prison deaths for Black American prisoners and you put them with the police murders, you'll get a number of about maybe 4,000. And you have to really work to get that nice 4 or 5,000. I'm not saying that's the total number, but you can kind of finesse that 4 or 5,000. But in Brazil, it could be 100,000 people that they kill in any given year. 50,000 is a nice number. It's a safe number because in the 1990s, the police were killing in Sao Paulo state alone about 15 to 20,000 people every year. So for you that go to Brazil and the women in the string bikinis and the karaoke and I'm sorry, was it carnival? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we black folk need to be a little less fake. We talk about how the bullshit Africans come here and disrespect us and use us. There is a growing number of black Americans that go to the Dominican Republic and to Brazil and to other places for sex holidays. It's the ultimate disrespect. It is despicable. I've been to Brazil 5 times and there are lots of sexy people, but I never went for a sex holiday. Our people can do better. And I just want to say to you that there are people, even black pastors, that go to Brazil to do very dirty things. For example, you can go to the Northeast or Nordeste, as they'd say in Brazilian Portuguese. And if you're a Northeastern Brazilian, Nordestino, and there are people who go and they'll pay like 500 to 1,000 US dollars to have sex with children. The name is Reino or Rei da Noite, King of the Night. There are people who go to Brazil for pedophilia trips, some of them black Americans. It's
That's sad.
despicable. No interest in doing business. Black Brazilians have an economy nearing $1 trillion. We should be doing business, not looking for tricks. Afro-Brazilians have respect for black Americans. Afro-Brazilians and black Americans are indistinguishable. If you go to Brazil, folks won't be able to tell you you can fit in down there. Trust me, I've been in a taxi with Reverend Hayes and had a machine gun put in my face because I look like a black Brazilian. Police brutality is real. Genocide is real. Um, I'm bringing this up because there are a whole bunch of coons. If Corona were to go away tomorrow, there are going to be a lot of people that want to go someplace where their dollar stretches further than it does in South Beach. They go to the Dominican Republic, and a lot of them keep ending up dead. That's because some of the folk kill your asses for going down there to screw them. You have no business doing that. If we didn't like our grandparents and great grandparents and the folks in slavery being raped, ripped off, manipulated by folks who had money or had you in chains, we need to understand that our boule, bougie, fake, liar, get over ski, do nothing for the rest of us type coons are making us have a negative international reputation for being sleazy, trampish, whorish people. And that's not who we are. And it's not most of us, but it's some of us. And I know what it's like to spend a good 10, 12 years of my life trying to get people to do something productive with Brazilian blacks. And the only thing people want to know is how much sex could you get down there? This includes clergy. Or they said, if you're down there, what were you really doing? How many? Or if you just told me you went to Brazil, people would wink and say, good man. And it's assumed you just down there, just, pounding the people. We could do much better. We need to know about the other people in the diaspora. Yes, I am as you know, I came up with my own term, adapter, a descendant of Aboriginal and forcibly transported or trafficked African Americans. And I'm concerned about the people in the United States. But unlike the xenophobic people and some of these groups, we still must have a relationship and, at least on a secondary basis, be concerned about what goes on in the wider diaspora. I don't ever want, like some coon nigga called up on here and made a comment that I don't do anything about Africa. As soon as I get a few more donations, I'm going to help someone pay their rent in Conakry, Guinea. And I've been doing this for 15 years, doing what I can do. Brother Selmo knows me going back 25 years and,
Yes.
and trying to meet people and network. It didn't succeed, but at least I tried. At least I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
At least I made an effort and I didn't have much to work with. So This is going to be the beginning of many conversations. You're going to see Reverend Selmo Hayes again. I'm going to ask you in particular if any of you want to learn Brazilian Portuguese. He's able to give private lessons. Yeah. And on top of that, we're supposed to have a conversation with two women in Tennessee about setting up a school. I'm also going to bring Allison Moses in, and you're going to see her jewelry and her book project to teach Black history, Black pride in Brazil. Um, I will say this of me when a lot of people say, "What does Randy Short do?" Sometimes I may not have the money or the resource. What I've tried to do is network, introduce. In fact, that matters. It counts because our people are so broken up and disorganized. Anyone that can bring people together has a skill our race has needed for the last 600 years. That's real talk. So I want to let you know, Pastor Selmo, I extended him an invitation to come to Atlanta with me. And the next few days he's not able to go, so I could introduce him to some people. And so absolutely we can do a Portuguese class. Pastor Selmo, tell me your email so I can type this up here.
Uh,
Okay.
PRSEL. P as in Paul,
All right.
R as in Richard,
Mhm,
S as in Sam, E as in Echo, L as in Lima,
mhm.
41 at yahoo.com.
Okay, I'm putting it up here. We want to take some people down, and yes, there's some beautiful women down there. I can't wait to go back. But if anything, I'd be looking at a wife, not a trick. By the way, a lot of brothers, since I started going down there, they just acted up so badly until now. They think that brothers from the U.S. are just complete hoes. So please, we've worn out our welcome. Let's go in dignity. Be polite. Don't grab anything that's not yours. Okay. All right. Now, so let me see. This is Pastor Selmo's email. And if you want to learn Portuguese, we can even practice. We can have a Brazilian Portuguese club through Coonbusters. Okay. Uh, I haven't been in Brazil in 20 years. My Portuguese is so, but it's not bad for a person that learned on the streets. I can improve. So I look forward. Eu estou muito feliz a falar com meu amigo, pastor Selmo Reis, de Rio de Janeiro, porque ele é muito grande e importante militante na comunidade negra como fé de Jesus Cristo.
Amen. Amen.
So I'm going to put this up here. Now, what should I do? Should I show them some of this Brazilian stuff hardcore so I can show them some people getting blown away? Because, Black Americans need graphics. When you tell them stuff, they don't hear, especially if you tell them, you got to see like blood going down the street. I mean, this is that. Oh my God, they shot him in the head. Can I see that again? Oh,
Yeah.
did they pixelate it? Ooh, that bullet looks kind of small. Black folks need everything needs to be graphic because. So what did I say, Sheila? I said that I'm very happy. I said something to the fact that Reverend Selmo Hayes is a very important Black militant activist of Rio de Janeiro, and I forgot. I mean, I went fast. If you start doing it, but let me try to do this, and he'll tell me whether I did this right or not.
Uh-huh.
25 anos atrás, era a primeira vez quando eu encontro essa persona muito importante no movimento negro, Pastor Selmo Hayes. I said 25 years ago, I met this very important person, Reverend Selmo Hayes, or Pastor Selmo Hayes.
Mhm.
Ok.
Correct.
Ele foi no grupo das ativistas, no grupo de Rio Negro e CEAP. em Rio de Janeiro. E ele me mostra muitas coisas interessantes, particularmente a favela de Mangueira. Não, não, não. Cidade de Deus.
Não,
Cidade de
Cidade de Deus.
Deus. Cidade de Deus. Era a
Yes.
primeira favela que eu posso a ver com meus olhos. Okay.
Uhum.
He took me to the big, hardcore black area called City of God. It's the first time I saw like a big, black Brazilian ghetto with my own eyes.
Yeah.
And also, I can say one more. Uma noite, quando nós somos descer ao apartamento dele, os policiais, eles assumem que nós éramos os ladrões e nós houve uh, hijack táxi na subúrbio do Rio de Janeiro e os policiais eles estão preparando a matar todos os negros na carro. I think I said that right.
Mhm. Correto.
Okay. I was saying that a long time ago, when we were leaving his apartment late at night, the police thought that we black people had hijacked the taxi and they were going to kill all of us.
Yeah.
They were going to kill us all. I swear to you, the taxi cab driver saved our lives. He jumped out of his taxi cab and started screaming, "Por favor, eles são família. Eles são família. Confia em mim. Eles são família. Eles são família. Por favor. Não mata as pessoas na minha carro," right? And this guy was saying, "They're family. Please don't kill them. Don't kill them in my car. Please don't kill them. Please don't kill them. They're family." And the policemen decided not to kill us. Okay. I never went to his house again. I ain't never going to your house. Shit, never. I mean, no. So we almost got killed for taking a taxi after hours. In Brazil, the police don't need to take you to the police station. They don't have to. They
No.
can just kill you on the spot. It just doesn't matter. You just don't matter. You're black. In particular, if they have a thing that's like our passport, what's it? Cartão de trabalho.
Carteira de trabalho.
Carteira de trabalho, right? It's like a South African passbook. If you don't have this carteira, the police can kill you. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. No lawyer, no civil rights, no Martin Luther King, no Malcolm X, none of that. Just boom. Boom, 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 boom. You're gone. I think we went to not Mangueira, Hasena. Remember we went to Hasena? Maybe I didn't go to Hasena with you. And I kept walking near a trash can. It stood out. And but I went to Hasena. Hasena's another big favela area. And the trash can stood out in my mind. I kept looking at the trash can, a big dumpster, but I didn't know why I kept thinking about the trash can. When I got home to look at the TV, the girl who I was seeing, her mother was telling me how crazy I was. No. It wasn't that. I was staying in Sao Paulo. No. In Rio. The people tell me how crazy I was to go to Hasena. And just as they were telling me how bad it was to go to that black neighborhood where everybody was nice to me, the trash can, the big dumpster that I kept looking at had 7 or 8 black people in it that they pulled out. I was right next to the trash can. I kept looking at the trash can, but I didn't understand why am I thinking about this dumpster? I don't think about trash. And they had people, all these black people they had put in the trash can. That's what the police will come through and they'll just kill everybody they want and put them in the trash can. No one asks any questions. They do shoot back in Brazil now. I'm telling you about 20 years ago, before crack was brought in, when they wanted mass incarceration of blacks in Brazil. Brazilian government, along with the American government, began planning to use the American system to punish black Brazilians. Now, it used to be blacks didn't always go to Brazil, jail like whites did, but now the blacks go to jail. And they are murdered in jail, set the jail on fire, they put the gangs in jail, and it's just a place to die. Worse than anything that we have here. I'm not trying to excuse our mass incarceration, but the jails we have here are country club.
Oh
Sometimes,
yes.
sometimes the gangs in America, I mean, they're there, but in Brazil, they may own the whole jail, the state, the government, and it's just terrible what happens there. Uh, the other thing is that the crack, when the black people began to have a movement in Brazil, uh, I think, remember, Selmo, when I visited Rio, and then the U.S. government people came asking questions about what I was doing, and it
Hmm.
said everybody, I was nobody. They didn't like me visiting other black people, so they specifically made reference to my presence in Brazil as nobody of any consequence. The U.S. government was doing research with. There's a book called "Defiant Again." You can find it on a PDF. I'll put this up. You can look this up. It's a PDF called "Defiant Again." The United States government is very concerned about Black Brazilians and Black Colombians, and they do not want Black Americans involved with the movement for justice and equality for Blacks in Latin America.
Hmm.
You said the gangs in Brazil have more heart. They don't. The gangs are useless to the black Brazilians like the gangs are useless to us here. The Brazilian gangs, if they were moral, would be about something. The gangs terrorize the people, they prostitute people. The gangs
Yeah.
do nothing for the people. Never romanticize lawless black people wherever they are. They make life miserable. They fight the police not because they care about the community. They fight the police because the police are a rival drug dealing, prostituting gang. They are not fighting for the people. They kill all kinds of people. They hurt people. They have sex with people's mothers, grandmothers. They do whatever they want. It's awful. It is awful what the gangs there do. The gangs are given guns, and I'll just say to you, the gangs are all right as long as they keep the crime in black areas. The gangs become a problem to the authorities when they hit rich or middle class areas.
Like.
That's when the gangs become a problem. The gangs can kill as many poor black people as they want, as many, whatever. But if they go down to the beaches, to the tourist areas, to the important places, not only will the police kill them, they have white paramilitary groups that kill people. Sometimes they work for stores, sometimes they work for an apartment association, and they will kill people. No, not just like here, Dominique. It's much worse. It's much worse. You can get
Hmm.
killed going to your apartment. You can get killed having a picnic. You don't just have someone call the police. And if the people call the police, you're lucky if the police don't shoot first. It's worse than here. It's much worse.
And I don't know if you know also we have a third component now in the areas in the segregated areas in Brazil. We have a third component. We used to have the police and we used to have the drug traffickers.
Yeah.
But unbelievably, they call drug traffickers the people that are selling drugs in these areas. But in truth, they are not drug dealers because they only sell and protect who else is selling the drugs. The drug traffickers are guys. They don't never come into this place. They are rich people. They are in government, they are in the police, in several areas. But the third element that is now terrorizing those areas is called militias.
Yes.
The militias are horrible because they are uh, generally formed by ex police people. They were like expelled from the police for corruption or other stuff. Uh, and they find out a way to make easy money terrorizing the people in these areas. So they go there and they kill drug the people that sells drug. They take their place, and with the help of the police, they keep the area for themselves, and they charge people money for protection, and they sell like the gas, and they sell video like cable, and they sell every service to the people that they should not supposed to because they are not authorities, and they punish the people when the people don't agree with them.
And the people don't buy. So basically, they're another governmental layer of oppression. I'm going to show some clips. Let's look at some stuff for. I hear someone go, didn't it come from you guys? We deserve respect as much as everybody else. I'm a firefighter, not a fire. I'm a mask maker. I'm a nurse. Delivery woman, chef, a neighbor. I'm a bus driver. I'm a doctor. Fight the virus, fight the masks. Let me get this on here. And they're working on this thing for me, my brother. Actually, I'm going to put this on one screen for a second. Okay, I need to put this up here.
If you diminish the light, you're gonna have better success on.
If I what?
If you diminish the light, yeah, it's better now.
Yeah. I have a new I need to let people know I have a whole bunch of new equipment that I was blessed with today for the channel. And so I'm just working on learning how to use it. And I'm going to have my tablet. Someone's going to do this Black Friday sale thing. And I'm going to hold on one second. Where's my veil? 1 second here, 1 second. Here we go. I'm gonna get my veil. Pretty soon I won't need it. Let's hit it. I'm gonna show a couple of these because people need to see this. In fact, I'm gonna turn my main light out and I'll have my other light on. Yay, I can do this for a couple of seconds because we got a new light. Wait 1 second. Wonderful. Let me hit this back up. And this time we'll roll with it.
It was a few weeks ago in the center of Rio de Janeiro, braving the ban on gatherings. A few hundred voices united against botched operations by police in favelas. In the midst of the pandemic, Rio saw a rise in police violence in these poor neighborhoods. Nearly 5 people were killed by police every day in the first 5 months of this year, a record last seen 22 years ago.
É inadmissível continuar assim. Deixa a gente para morrer no meio da pandemia e quando a gente não morre, coloca o braço armado para pisar da gente.
Among the victims, many were innocent children and residents. 75% were black, a recent study shows. On the outskirts of Rio is Afro-Brazilian, the nuclear family of João Pedro. He was shot dead during a police operation at the end of May while playing at his cousin's house. He was 14 years old.
Eles foram treinados para ser máquinas de matar. Então tirou a vida do meu menino.
64 bullet holes riddled the house, where police thought they would find traffickers.
Eu fiz o meu papel de mãe, né? Estava mantendo ele dentro de casa, com medo de um vírus, né? Que é o Covid, né? O coronavírus, e o seu filho morreu por um vírus muito pior.
Faced with this out-of-control violence, at the beginning of June, the Federal Supreme Court banned police operations in Rio's favelas during the pandemic. The drastic decision has come with some drawbacks. It deprives residents of all state protection.
A decisão tem sido usada, então, como subterfúgio por esses batalhões de polícia militar, por essas forças policiais, para que a polícia não cumpra o seu papel básico, fundamental, que é o de policiar todas as áreas da cidade, não apenas os bairros ricos. Embora ela seja interessante, positiva do ponto de vista do seu conteúdo, ela é um termômetro que revela um estado tanto quanto febril da democracia brasileira nesse momento.
Despite criticisms, Jair Bolsonaro's government recently decided to exclude cases of police violence from an annual report on human rights violations.
That's one shot. I'm going to give you some more.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait. I can't wait until I get my my Black Friday till I get my Black Friday support from my other backers.
Bruna Silva lost her son 9 months ago. Marcus was going to school when he was caught in a police operation in a favela. He was shot in the back and died in the hospital. He was 14 years old.
When I got to the hospital, my son was alive. His blood was still warm. And he asked me, Mom, the police shot me. Didn't they see I was wearing the school uniform?
Bruna is part of a support group for mothers whose children have been killed by police. Now she is helping Luciana. She lost her 12-year-old son, Cauã, just days ago.
I'm at a loss for words to explain how I feel about the tragic way my son died. He was spending the night at his father's house, and now he'll never come back. I knew the stories about the
An image all too common in Rio, a young black man being shot by police. Authorities say the deaths of Marcos and Cauã were accidental, but police violence is on the rise in Rio. In February, police in the city killed a record number of 145 people. Residents accused police of using helicopters and snipers to shoot, which authorities have denied. But human rights groups warn many police killings are in fact extrajudicial executions.
Police killings are out of control in Rio de Janeiro right now. In reality, many of these killings are extrajudicial executions. We also saw that the police who committed these killings destroyed the crime scene. Like they took bodies, they moved bodies, they destroyed evidence and so forth.
This increase in violence comes after a newly elected governor openly supported a shoot-to-kill policy. The military police says the increase in police killings is an unfortunate but unavoidable result of the escalating war on drugs in the city.
people living in these are good citizens, but they are under the control of drug traffickers. So we have to go into this place, and usually the reception is not the best. There are confrontations, and unfortunately people die. It's not what we wish for, but it comes from the other side.
Bruna and Luciana are suing the police for answers. They hope to bring justice for their children and to prevent more deaths. This is the street where 14-year-old Marcus used to live in. It was also the street where he was killed in 2018. Now the bullet holes in the grounds and on the walls are just a reminder of the terror these communities say they live every day. But they're not the only ones. Favelas across Rio are accusing police of using the war on drugs just as an excuse to use their bodies as targets. Alberti, TR2 World, Rio de Janeiro.
Let's do some more of this.
A white policeman standing on the neck of a black woman lying on the ground. This picture is filmed in late May, but just released this month. Primetime TV has sparked outrage. A white policeman standing on the neck of a black woman.
Okay, guys. And let me get this back in here so I don't have this glare. I don't know why this glares like this. Okay, 1 second. All right, there we go. In just a matter of days, we're going to have a much better presentation. Bear with me.
A white policeman standing on the neck of a black woman lying on the ground. This picture is filmed in late May, but just released this month to the public on Primetime TV have sparked outrage among many Brazilians. But perhaps not much surprise. The officer, as well as another on the scene, have been suspended, and an investigation is underway. The victim, a 51-year-old bar owner who agreed to film with her mask on but asked us to withhold her name, admits she did come after the policeman with a broomstick to defeat the man she says was being attacked by the agents. But she says the policeman's reaction was disproportionate and continued after she was already hurt and unconscious.
Eu não estou fazendo nada, estou isolado dentro de casa.
I'm now locked at home. Nothing. My bar is closed, so I don't have any money. I'm hurt physically and mentally, and I'm afraid of what may happen to me.
Following the release of the video, the governor of São Paulo, João Dória, announced the beginning of a pilot project to equip police officers with body cameras to film all their actions, like shown here in this government video. The governor also promised more training for police.
Acho que casos como esse mostram.
I think cases like this show us that the problem is not lack of training. There is a response the authorities always give to the problem, and it has happened now. But when you see a policeman with his boots on the neck of somebody, it's clear that the problem is not lack of knowledge.
This is the exact spot where this latest video has been shot. Police brutality, particularly in poor areas like here in Parelheiros, is a known problem in Brazil that has never been fully addressed. And figures show that police killings are way up this year here in the state of São Paulo, despite an overall decrease in crime during the coronavirus pandemic. African Brazilian activists also point to a racial bias when it comes to police brutality.
Essa população negra que representa 1/3 da população da cidade.
São Paulo's inhabitants are black, while 2/3 of the people killed by the police here are black. What explains this difference? Over the last few years, we see there's been a drop in the number of white youth being killed, while the number of killings of black youth increased. So this shows that things like social class and the region where people live are not enough to explain this problem. There's a violent, selective, and punitive view of black people.
The rise of smartphones and cameras here has brought greater documentation to issues long covered up and ignored. A steady stream of videos exposing alleged incidents of police brutality. Officials here now finding it impossible to deny the problem exists. Paulo Cabral, for CGTN, São Paulo.
Let's do another one. And folks think that, they just go down and get themselves some bargain basement sex in Brazil. Oh man, the holes down there is fine. And we ignore. And, we want people to be empathetic to us. We need to practice the same empathy. In particular, Brazilians don't come here and mess with Black Americans. They're not doing it to us. We really should get out of the business of copying the worst behavior of sex tourists, of the white elite classes. Let me see if I get this thing right. One second. There we go.
A violência cai assustadoramente. Os caras vão morrer na rua, igual barata, pô. Tem que ser assim.
In Brazil, some political promises go beyond just words. Police here aren't just trained to hit their target, they're encouraged to kill.
Já estamos avisando. Quem estiver portando arma de fogo não será poupado, será abatido, porque é em defesa das próprias vítimas que eles estão fazendo com o uso daquela arma de fogo. Alimentar e carregar.
In Rio, there's been a 17% rise in police killings since January. More than 1,000 people have died, most in the poorest areas of the city.
A bala voando no Palace, rapaziada, o bagulho tá doido.
Ground forces that often struggle to access Rio's favelas now have help, snipers on helicopters. That's what residents in Moray witnessed in May, when police killed 8 people, 4 inside this house. Jorge didn't want to show his face out of fear of retaliation.
Aqui onde tinha bastante sangue aqui, entendeu? Aí caminhando aqui para frente, aqui também tinha rastro de sangue aqui, mas aqui nessa parte aqui também, vocês estão vendo aqui, entendeu? Era outro corpo, o terraço da minha casa, entendeu? Aqui, nessa parte aqui, onde se encontrava um corpo, bastante sangue aqui, essa parte, tiro nessa parte aqui.
These balls, were they fired from a helicopter?
Helicóptero, com certeza, entendeu?
How long have you lived in Moray?
Eu moro aqui há 20 anos.
20 years. Noticed changes to the way that this community is being policed?
Depois desse governo aí agora, então as coisas mudou totalmente, entendeu? Não é mais como era antigamente, que tipo assim, antigamente você relevava mais, as polícias tinham mais aquele afeto, né, de chegar assim, conversar, e hoje não, hoje em dia ele já chega, tipo assim, a ordem agora é matar.
One of the units that people in favelas fear most is BOPE, the Militarized Special Operations Battalion. Here, they're training to get into neighborhoods that don't want them.
O objetivo do BOPE, em princípio, é a preservação da vida. Mas quando o marginal da lei ele decide enfrentar a polícia, o Estado, ele é com alguns riscos. Se o marginal decidir
Por esse enfrentamento, o OP vai fazer uso da força necessária para neutralizar essa injusta agressão.
Mudar e sintonizar aí ela. Excelente. In June, this Bopley operation did lead to the arrest of a drug dealer. It also injured 3 others. It killed a mother of 3 who was caught in the crossfire on her way to work. Authorities justify these tactics by citing the 23% decrease in the city's murder rate in the first half of this year.
Is that just a fact of policing Rio? The more policing done, the more people die.
O marginal que está de posse de uma arma, ele tem a opção de entregar a arma e se render. No entanto, muitas vezes ele faz a opção pelo confronto.
People who have been killed by the police have been completely innocent.
Todas as mortes que envolvem a ação policial, elas são apuradas. Não só pela Polícia Militar, mas também pela Polícia Civil e pelo Ministério Público.
Lies.
As mortes são levadas a uma apreciação da justiça e confiamos nessas investigações.
Lies.
Vítimas dessa guerra.
Those cases end up on the desk of a public prosecutor, whose unit predates this administration. It now has 751 cases open, and those are just the ones that were filed. Witnesses rarely come forward, leaving Andrea Amin and her team dependent on whatever the police give them.
How often do you bring charges against officers?
É muito difícil você chegar a uma investigação mais eficiente, porque muitas vezes os corpos são tirados do local, não tem o laudo de local, não tem prova testemunhal, então são investigações baseadas na fala da polícia. São poucos os casos que conseguimos denunciar.
Talk to the police and they say the intention is never to kill. How often do you look at cases and think that there actually was a choice?
Eu acredito até que grande parte dos policiais não saem de casa de manhã e falam assim, hoje eu vou matar 10 pessoas. É mais de se morrer fez parte. Quem mandou estar armado? Quem mandou estar na favela? É criminoso está aí para morrer.
What can be done to stop tragedies like that happening?
Operações planejadas, dados de inteligência, apoio da sociedade, indicando onde os marginais se encontram e onde eles guardam seus armamentos.
Getting that support isn't likely to happen under politicians who back a militarized police force that's trained to kill.
A gente não pode passar informação nenhuma para eles, porque eles sabem disso que como é que é o ritmo da comunidade, entendeu? Se a gente fala, a gente morre.
We have the 2 versions, huh?
Oh, yes. So, what do you think? You're from Brazil. Aren't they lying?
No, they just doing that version.
Okay, so you're saying
Our side is just to be killed.
Robinhood is an investing app. If you buy
so. You think that this is are the police telling the truth, or is it just like here where they do whatever they want to do?
They plan to give help to people in those areas. The ex-secretary Secretary of Safety in Brazil, he said certain time that the police has to patrol those areas where most blacks are. It's something that the state has an interest in patrolling those areas and keep those areas always under the police control. They do this in a regular way. Another thing that they don't say is that police generally go and getting in conflict with the drug sellers, let's put it this way, and take their armament and sell to their enemies. Also, sometimes they take their drugs and sell to their enemies. It's a very lucrative uh, way of doing business in these areas because police has nobody to investigate them. So a lot of policemen is full of money because it's rich because they do this kind of game in those areas. They have nobody to investigate them. They kill. They steal. They negotiate drugs. They negotiate. Nothing happened.
Mhm.
In Brazil, they are a nobody's land. You can do whatever you want,
Okay.
and nothing's gonna happen.
Nobody. Let me give you the English. It's no man's land.
A no man's land. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, now
Yeah.
everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah.
Now, let me hit one more of these. I don't know. My people always like to see pictures. You gotta don't tell them. Show them. You must do it over and over and over again, and then they only believe when they see it. Only visuals count.
Operation against
Oh, come on now. Hold on one second. 1 second. I don't know how that happened. That's okay. Hurry up, give me my doggone tablet. I want my tablet. I'm sick of this.
Here is the new governor of the state of Rio de Janeiro at the helm of a police operation against drug traffickers.
The operation begins today. The chaos is over. We will put this house in order.
Wilson Witzel won his election by promising a fierce fight against organized crime. He then proposed using snipers to shoot down criminal offenders carrying rifles.
O recado está dado. The message is clear. Do not fight the police. If you do, there are only two possibilities: prison or death.
The local opposition has written to the UN to denounce what it describes as genocidal policies, but it hasn't shaken Witzel. On Ipanema Beach, hundreds of people denounce police aggression against young, black, and poor residents of Rio's favelas.
My name is Bruna. I am the voice of Marcus Vinicius, the 14-year-old who was shot in the back by armed state officials.
Bruna's son was killed a little over a year ago during a police operation in the Maré favela. He was shot in the back while on his way to school, wearing a school uniform. 14 months later, the investigation of the death is still unfinished. This year, Bruna's daughter found herself under fire from another police operation in which snipers fired down from helicopters. The little girl took refuge in a medical center.
It's cowardly to use snipers because the police already know how to shoot. I will not stay quiet. The state killed my son, and I won't allow them to bring me back my daughter's body, the only child I have left, her t-shirt blood-stained like they did with her brother.
Bruna counts on the support of Renata Souza, a leftist state congresswoman born in the same favela. In May, Souza petitioned to the UN and the Organization of American States to try to end this policy. As retaliation, the governor's party started a process to revoke her mandate.
We need the state of Rio and the federal government to take responsibility and create mechanisms to reduce the number of homicides, not increase it by shooting at us from helicopters.
The governor says that during the first 6 months of 2019, the number of violent deaths in Rio de Janeiro dropped 23% from the same period the year before. But there's also been a record increase in the number of people killed by police, at least 881, 15% more than in 2018.
You ever wondered what
actors and actresses do when they have to get in shape really fast for a movie, because I can promise you it's not the same diet that you're following and the same training plan that you try. Why? Because what they do is take a catered approach. They get their trainer who knows what they're doing, and they have them write out a plan for their body type. Because once you know your body type, you're going to know exactly what kind of exercises are best, what kind of diet's going to be best, and then everything else comes easier. So according to studies, there's one food that can raise your overall testosterone levels by 52% and overall sexual health by 78%. Can you guess what it is? I'm going to say probably not, because until a couple of years ago, I had never heard of this food. It's got a super weird name, but what's cool was that you can literally start eating this one food today to reclaim your masculinity, to get higher energy levels, raise your libido again, start burning fat again, start building real muscle again, and actually start feeling good. So one of my buddies texted me the other day, and he was asking for some help with getting in shape, and he said that basically he's just completely out of shape now. And he's trying to eat healthier, but his energy's way down. He's not losing any weight. His libido and his stamina are way down. So I said I'd help him. And I was like, all right, send me over what you're eating. And he sent me it over. And there were definitely some changes that needed to be made. But there was one food that stuck out to me that he was eating. And I call it, this food, the masked man killer, because it's hidden.
Sorry about the junk food. Now, brother.
It is about the government and the gangs. Hey, how are you? Every day this year, more than 5.
Sorry about the junk food. Anyway, we show people some video. Now, talk about being a black Brazilian. You got the floor. Just tell people. You can tell your story. Just let it hang. We showed them enough. We could talk about poverty and all this stuff. I just want you to talk about being a black Brazilian. You can even compare the United States to Brazil.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Talk about it. Because we normally never hear from black Brazilians. We've always heard that it's a racial democracy there.
Yes. Well, first of all, I thank God for being alive. I saw many kids that didn't make it. Kids in Brazil, if you're black in Brazil, you have a great possibility to die. 14, sometimes 13 years old. If you don't die by the police, you may die by the drug sellers. They somehow death will find you. And I was born in those areas, critical areas that they visit with helicopters and heavy guns and armored vehicles. I was born in a place like that, and I saw during my life so many people being killed cowardly by the police. As I saw also people being killed by people selling drugs, and somehow you don't get used, but you feel like it is part of your life if you live on that place. There's no justice for blacks. There's no black judges or black attorneys that can take care of your situation. There's no black church to stop the violence, or nobody can say nothing on your behalf. And life is in Brazil is just like that. I was born in that, and I had so much hardship my whole entire life. And we live very separate, but we are so free to go anywhere we want. Uh, but if you go into the places where white people are, they will look at you from the top to the bottom, and with that look, they are telling you what you're doing here. If you insist in being there, they can call a security person or somebody else to ask you why you are there, and they will make a way to take you out or to put you out or to call the police on you or something. So since a child, I understood that police was not there to serve or protect us in any shape or form. Uh, thank God that in my early age, I was introduced to the gospel in a favela, in a segregated area. My first letters that I learned was in a Baptist church in this area, and what saved me was to know the gospel because uh, if it was not for the gospel, I would be involved in drugs. I would be involved in doing something wrong that would take my life very early. Uh, what Randy is showing there in this book is a child smelling a probably a
Glue.
shoe glue.
Yes.
They buy shoe glue when they are hungry. They get some shoe glue to smell, to snort,
To snort it. Yeah.
and they stay there snorting this until they get crazy, and they stay walking around the city without a place to stay. And many times when they go to sleep in the streets, police see, police comes close, and sometimes they
Kill them.
they kill them.
They kill them.
They kill them. They
You-
don't have any mercy. They don't recognize they are children. Like when you saw the video, you saw an image of the president of Brazil saying, those people in these areas, these segregated areas called favelas, they must be killed like cockroaches. That's how they refer to the majority of these people. They are, or they are blacks, or they are northeastern whites. They are not,
Norteños.
yeah, that they themselves don't recognize and themselves as they recognize themselves as white, but they are not recognized as white by the white people in Brazil. It's another thing. Another thing for you to know about what makes a black to be a black in Brazil. It's very different than what makes a black to be a black in America. You guys had here the one drop of blood, of black blood, make you black. In Brazil, what makes you black?
In America.
Oh, by the way, Dr. Short, do you know what makes a black in Brazil? Before I say, let me see if you know.
Poverty.
Nope. You carry wherever you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, being poor makes you black in Brazil.
Yeah, but what make you to be black? What will make them to know this is a black person coming towards me?
Your hair.
Yes, sir. If you have a hair like mine, you're black.
Okay.
No matter the color.
It's called Crespo.
Yes.
Crespo.
They call our black, our hairs, they call bad hair. They compare our hairs with a steel
wool. Right.
They make fun of black people's hair all the time. This is very common, you know. And they call it bad hair. You have bad hair, people know. That's why Brazil is specialized in create medical treatment for blacks. You probably have heard about the Brazilian progressive uh, how we gonna call Brazilian blows or whatever that make your hair so silky and so uh, relaxed that looks like a hair of a white person. So it's a treatment that costs a lot of money, and a lot of black women do it. Even the white women that they think they are white because they are not that white like Americans, white Americans, they also use it because everybody wants to be white, white, and whiter. So their mixed up population also have those kinds of treatment to look like more acceptable in the society. Well, those areas where helicopters fly over and they use have heavy uh, um, arms. Other places uh, they are very common for blacks. Matter of fact, I came in America to stay in 2001, and for the first time I went back to my country. And when I was flying over Rio de Janeiro, I was I was shocked because I saw from the airplane that the city is being surrounded by those favelas because the government chose to not do any housing politics for blacks. So blacks will be uh, building very crazy habitations to survive. So this is what we call favelas. So favelas practically surround the nice areas where white people live. And I was shocked because it's like everything is taken, and the militias that these ex-policemen do, they they create a way to profit on those people needing place to live, and they sell very small areas for great money, and people that don't have a house they have to agree, and that's why this kind of crazy architecture of the favela has grown so much, that's increased so much in Rio de Janeiro, to the point that everything seems to be a favela or a segregated area. So the cruelty and the police brutality happens when the police comes close to you. Police used to do I don't know how we say. How do you say, Randy, when police goes in the side of a bus and start checking on everybody? How do you call this term here?
To stop you, arrest you, or detain, or search and seizure. I mean, it's to stop you.
Sir, let's use the word search. Okay, the police don't ever have a warrant. It's funny. We used to say in the movies in Brazil, American movies, that police only search you if they have a warranty, and they read your rights. In Brazil, we have no rights. They don't read anything, and they don't ever have a warranty. Today, I saw in Facebook in that favela that you went in Brazil, Cidade de Deus, that police invaded the house. They completely make a hole on half of the door of the person just because they suspect the person was who they want to search. and they broke the whole entire door and they just go away. There's nothing that you can do or say because if you say the wrong word, you may end up killed. They always kill. It's like another thing that they do. Police in Rio de Janeiro, they carry two guns. They carry the official gun, and they carry their own gun. And sometimes they use their own gun for some things, and sometimes they use the official guns for everything. And every time they are searching, and that is some kind of somebody start shooting on them, they're gonna shoot everywhere. It doesn't matter if there is people in the streets. People already know they're supposed to run because they don't care about the people that are in the streets. Um, and when they go searching in the buses, I always observe it. Let's say you have 20 white persons in the bus, and you have two blacks. They pass them, and they go straight to search blacks. It is a practice that happens all the time, and you can't complain. You can't say anything. They humiliate you in front of people. They hit you in front of people. They do this to children. I've seen in buses they humiliating children and put them all together outside of the bus. Then when they take the kids out of the bus and they put them in front of a wall and they hit them with the back of their guns in their heads. And if they cry, they don't care. It's a terrorist state that we live in Brazil. One time I was passing by with my daughter, taking her to the school, and there was a river by my house, the house that Dr. Short visited. And when I was passing by the river, I looked at and I saw a child. It was about 12 to 13 years old, and the upper body and the head had more than 10 bullets. It's like it blow up the head of that young boy. And I had to put my hand on my daughter's face for her not to see. And that boy was in the river, like floating on the river. And I did one thing. I called the local newspaper and told them what happened, and then I saw this a boy, and I asked them to come and to do like a kind of a show what's happening, so the people would understand what's happening. They never came. They never came. They don't want to show those things. They don't want to create any kind of problems showing our disgrace and our.
Stop for 1 minute. What about the paper? Ok, sobre a Jornal de Sua Cidade, O Povo.
Oh, that newspaper.
Does it still it exists? Existe agora?
I don't know, but there is one now called Extra that is doing part of that job. We had one newspaper that they used to get very very let's say explicit pictures where they used to show the details of the bullets in people's body all the time. It was like it's like a gallery of art for them. And people used to buy the newspaper for that reason. They want to know who. It's funny because in America we have a newspaper that people cost $1 that people used to buy to check on who got in jail. Over there was not about who got in jail, who got killed. We all people always would go get the newspaper to check on who got killed because it was so common. They have terrible, terrible pictures. It's like it, and there is no outcry. There's no oh my God, look what they're doing to people. No, we got our colonizer, Portuguese people. They create a good system where they created a way to criminalize blacks in Brazil in a way that they even put in our law in our laws that blacks were have the features of criminal people. Okay, so our law is full of prejudice. Our law will determine that blacks are criminal before blacks commit a crime. We have the features in our faces now, in our black faces. We have those features, and it's very common uh, for police to assume that we are suspects. We are suspect all the time. And the thing is, I've seen my whole entire life the approach of the police. When the police would get, I'm telling you this about in the 70s. I was I was a child in the 70s. I I saw the police come in my community many times and arresting blacks. And the way they arrest a black person is, first of all, they spank that person in front of everybody, make that person goes to a shock, make that person to bleed, and then after that they throw that person in the trunk of the car and take them somewhere. Uh, Certain time I was in the Rio de Janeiro downtown, and I saw a commotion, and I look and I saw police, five policemen bringing one guy, one black guy, and they will enter into a small police cabin, and oh, before they enter in that police cabin, they were spanking the guy publicly, and people were seeing, and nobody was saying anything. But they five guys against one. That's how it was. And when they got in this police cabin, they continued, and the guy was cuffed. He has cuffs in his hands, and the guy was looking to them, and they were hitting, and I got so upset with the situation, and I told them, "Why you guys are doing that? You already arrested him. He's not giving you any resistance. Why you still are beating up them?" And this policeman look at me and say, "Why are you saying that? Are you from the human's right? Get out of here!" And they close the thing and they continue hitting the guy. And the following day that I passed by, I asked some people in the area, "What happened to the guy?" And they said, "Well, they took him, but when they were trying to take him to the police station, they already saw that he was dead, and they disappear with his body." That's a very common thing. Disappearing bodies by the police in Brazil, it's a common practice. And believe it or not, it is very hard to fight the police. I have I had a brother. He became a policeman, same police that I'm talking about. He wants to do good things. He wants to go to school, and he was doing a good job. He has he had two babies, and he didn't want to be involved in anything wrong. This guy was trying to do only the police work, but his friends in the area where he was stationed, they want to be involved with the drugs. They were negotiating drugs with the people that would sell drugs. and my brother was the one that didn't want to be involved. So his police friends took him to do a patrol in the area, and they put him in front, and he was not even the person to be in the front because he was just like a soldier. He was not a sergeant or nothing. But they say, "Hey, Valjeanne, you're gonna go in front today." And he went with his gun, and all of a sudden he met 7 to 8 guys on the terrace, and they start shooting him, and he tried shooting back, and his machine gun explode on his hand, and they kill him. And I had other two uncles that were policemen too. And during his funeral, they were saying, "Ah, we know what they did to him. We're gonna go and we're gonna kill them." And my mom said, "No, no, my son is already dead. I don't want nobody else's sons killed." And she said, "Please don't do it." So my two of my uncles, they were planning to go and kill those policemen who killed my brother. And and my mom said, "No, I forgive them. I don't want nobody else dead." And the thing is that one day I met one of these policemen, and he told me, "Well, your brother seems to have a steel chest. Like he thought he was better than us, something like that." So it's very difficult for you to go against the police because there are so many in the police that are involved in crimes. They are involved in selling guns. They are involved in uh, steal steal from the robbers and sell to another community. That's how they make their living. And if you enter in the police and you try to be good, they will get rid of you. So it's a system that there is no way that will be repaired or changed because also the state want the patrolling of those areas. The state allowed the drugs to come. And it's funny when we have a real in Rio de Janeiro we had a big uh, conferences from many nations, and I have friends that they saw the police taking thousands of guns that were in these areas in a convoy. They were moving the guns of the people who sold drugs. They will move those guns to other areas away from Rio de Janeiro because Rio de Janeiro were being patrolled by the army because of this international conference. They didn't want the drug trafficking people to be involved with shootings with the army. So the police was helping them to take care of their armament. So it is a mix of police and drug sellers, drug dealers, judges, and politics. One year ago, I was looking at the news in Brazil, and I saw that one politician was caught by transporting cocaine in his private helicopter. He never went to jail. It is the justice in Brazil only works to imprison blacks. And I saw clearly how blacks are treated when they go, when I arrest. When they arrest a white person, they put them sit down on in the back of the car, and they make sure that they don't hit them, that they don't do anything. They have a care for white people. But when it's black, if you happen to be a black in Brazil and police is arresting you, if you go to the police station walking, You are the luckiest person. Sometimes some blacks survive the police because they have some money and they ask some amount of money to be alive, and they let them to be alive. But in everywhere, the police has the power to take life, and they do, and there's no investigation. Also, when black people die, they don't put the race in their bodies. It's all about the statistics. They don't want to people to know how many black people has died in conflicts. They say in conflicts with the police.
Can you talk
Uh,
about education for like a few minutes? What schools are like?
Pardon me?
Schools, educação.
If it
As
is school,
escolas, yes, as escolas públicas.
they don't educate. It's we are a society of um, it's not even denial. Brazilian society is a society that chose to not see. We are a forgotten people. We are nobody's people. We don't have the. It's like see, we are in the 21st century, and I thought that in 21st century things would be changing a little bit in Brazil. Like I said before, Brazil prejudice. People don't until like some years ago, people Brazilian white Brazilian people would not express much about their disgust about blacks. They would look at it and they would do things in the background to avoid to deal with. But with this new president that we have in Brazil right now called Bolsonaro, things are changing. Uh, also the social uh, what do you call Facebook? Social
Media.
media. The social media gave a voice to blacks also, and we took the racism from from our talks and we throw in the social media, and then we start hearing or sometimes seeing the text of white people, because before white people would not say anything, they just did things to us, but we have no voice and we have no face. But now with social media, we have face and voice and text sometimes, and we are for the first time observing with a terrible president that we have that hates women, hates blacks, hates gays, hates my goodness, he hates everybody. He has a hate relationship with everybody, and he talks bad about anybody, and and he expresses racism uh, very freely on the cameras, and he doesn't care because he knows that justice don't do anything. So my experience as a pastor, before I got to be a pastor, I had a well, before I got to go to school, I barely knew about what was being to be a black person. I, like I said, I was born in the segregated areas. We barely have uh, rights, so we barely have education. Our schools generally were always white teachers, and they would never say anything about racism. So I come to know about racism by experience, not by understanding. So how people look at me, how I was perceived, how I perceive myself. Uh, I had to keep myself in certain areas, and I would never go in other areas because I knew that those areas were not for me, but I never knew why they were not for me. So, but I came to know about racism in a more broad way when I went to the university. So in the seminary, I went to seminary before I go to the university. I went to the seminary and I started theology, and I couldn't notice much about because nobody says anything about racism in the seminaries in Brazil. So in my second seminary, I started preaching about social justice. I didn't know much about racism, but I was already understanding that a certain group of people had so much and a large group of people had nothing. So, and I noticed that in the church, it was the same thing. A certain group of the church in Brazil, because in Brazil we don't have black churches. Everybody is together in the church. But you,
Wait a minute.
yes,
You're in the same space, but you're still segregated. I think
yes,
you're not together.
yes, not together at all. We had people that were coming to the church with a blow up shoe, and we had people who come to the church with a nice shoes and nice clothes and nice car, and we never discuss poverty. We never discuss racism. We never discuss anything that has to do with inequalities. Our gospel was you need to be saved. It is about your salvation of your soul.
Okay. Now,
Your body has nothing to do with nothing. Jesus came to save your soul, and that's it. Don't go beyond that.
pessoa tem uma pergunta para você sobre o número dos negros na sociedade brasileira, o número dos negros, a população.
Uh-huh.
So, can you tell them this? Answer that question.
Okay.
Essa pergunta sobre o número dos negros no Brasil.
The number of blacks in the population. They come now with the number of 55% of the population. But you know what? Brazil always, since the beginning, they always were afraid of the population of blacks because blacks were always, from the beginning, the huge population. And the Portuguese people, they were so concerned. And that's why they did so much of mixing and displacing. Like let's say you see a family of slaves, they would take the father put in the south, the mom they put in the north, and the kids they split in different areas. Because and another thing, they also had a way of recognizing the groups of slaves who would come to Brazil because they knew the tribes. They knew which ones were rivals in Africa and the ones that were okay. So they would put the rivals together. They did so much to separate the Africans and the families. And because they had very, very little numbers of women, white women in Brazil, they start having sex with black, or let's say having sex. They were raping black women left and right.
Okay, now let's do this because you're making this harder than what it needs to be. The Portuguese allegedly found Brazil in 1500, right?
Yes, 1501.
Okay, 1501.
I'm sorry, 1500. In 1501, they start bringing blacks to Brazil.
No, they didn't bring one white woman from Europe until 1800. which means that they had to have been raping black women for 300 years before a white woman even got there.
Yeah, blacks and natives.
Yeah, but
Because we used to have a huge population of natives. We have about 16 million natives.
You still do. This is why my definition that I want people to use is DAFTA, descendant of Aboriginals and forcibly trafficked African Americans.
Uh-huh.
It acknowledges, because all of my folks were not slaves. Some of the people in my family were definitely Native American.
Mhm.
If I send you pictures, these people look more like Chinese and Filipino.
Well, my great granddaughter, my great granddaughter, my great grandmother, she was native Brazilian.
Right.
She was catched by a Portuguese guy by lace. They laced her and pulled her and took her by force.
Lasso.
Lasso, yeah.
Lasso is Portuguese. Lasso, English.
Lasso. Lasso.
Right.
Yes. That's what they did to her.
Right. Well,
and what happened?
My grandmother's grandmother was captured and sold. Indian captain sold to white people in Georgia, and so so this Thanksgiving thing, I couldn't give a damn about Thanksgiving. It's an insult. It's like having Hitler's birthday in Israel. They would never do it. Black people disgust me. They trip on the 4th of July. Every holiday, if there was a holiday that they kill black people on, black folks would celebrate it the most.
Yes.
It's just, they're going to have a holiday for Obama. That's one day I'm going to work. I'm going to find something to do. If I'm homeless, I'm going to work on the Obama holiday. Y'all do that. I want to work. I mean, I'll start a business to work on Obama's birthday. Damn him.
But yes, the holidays are a way that they create for us to celebrate themselves. It's not about us, it's about them.
Well, and we don't like us just because there's an expression, I can do this word. Okay, guys, we're going to do some terms. If I talk about cabelo is Brazilian Portuguese for hair.
Mm-hmm.
We say nappy, they say crespo.
Crespo.
Crespo, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
If I want to say that somebody is really black and ugly, I say negro y fea or negro y feo, black and ugly. If someone's really dark skinned, you call them urubu.
and one that's very, very, very common.
Frango do céu.
Macaco.
Oh, macaco. That's monkey.
Yeah. We are called macaco all the time.
Macaco, yes.
Yeah.
But urubu and frango do céu.
Yeah.
Frango do céu is like a buzzard. It means sky chicken.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There is, black ladies, I got y'all listening. There are two words that are often used interchangeably for black women in Brazil. Domestica, which is a pejorative term for maid.
Yeah, my mom was one.
And puta, bitch, whore. It's almost interchangeable. Putas, plural. You can say negras, and that would mean black women, or you can say putas, and many people would associate that with black women as a collective. I'm telling the truth here.
Mm-hmm.
Garotas da programa. Okay, there's all kinds of words. Galinhas, the word.
Yeah, but garotas de programa is more about white girls.
Okay, well,
because you don't call a black garota de programa.
They say galinha, like chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken meat. So galinha. And they have a thing. They have these sayings. They have white rap. The one white rap is A branca es para casamiento. A mulata es para fudendo. A negra es para trabalho.
Yeah.
A white woman for marriage. A light skinned woman for the F word. Dark skinned women for cleaning the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real talk, y'all. Real talk. Brazil has all of these bogus ass racial classifications. I had a person tell me that they were formiga. Formiga. Okay, y'all don't know what that means. Formiga, or in Spanish, it's hormiga. It means ant. I'm red skinned. I'm not black. I'm like the color of an ant. I'm like in the race of ant colored people. It's real stupid, but we have it now. All these swirling sellout cool Negroes here who are all into, biracialism. We didn't have biracialism in America. You could be blonde hair, blue eyes, and get called nigger. That would not happen in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Then the American system has, for the last 30 years, been copying the Brazilian system. In fact, both countries are copying each other. As more and more black people in Brazil wake up to the fact that they aren't white or mixed, they're calling themselves black. The more that they call themselves black, the more they get killed. The government doesn't like this. The government never
No.
wanted a black and white Brazil because they
No.
choose. They wanted the expression in Portuguese is democracia racial,
Racial.
a racial democracy. The shit doesn't exist. And in America, they call it post-racial. So, época depois racismo. No such thing. No época existe, right? There's no such time that there's no racism. Okay?
Yeah. And another thing, Randy, why you guys are going from blacks to biracial and mix it, whatever? Blacks in Brazil are trying to go from what you guys are going through from
Right.
the word Negro, because we call ourselves Negros.
Right.
We call ourselves Negros, and we are proud to be Negros because we were called everything. We're called Pardos.
Mhm.
Okay, Pardos is the color of a Manila envelope.
Right. It's called,
Okay,
okay, and we have it in English. It would be prova de saque de papel. Prova de saque de papel.
uh-huh,
The paper bag test.
yeah,
Oh, we have this too. But
I am.
we use paper bag, not envelope.
I see. And then we've been called mulattoes. We've been called morenos,
Cobloco, Caputo.
caboclo, cafuso. When they do the census, blacks call themselves so many colors that they can even recognize. But because we've been insisting in call ourselves Negroes or Negros for so many years, so now they can recognize when we call Negros. And when they say one more Negro is killed, and they say, well, now everybody's Negro. But we fight so much that we being considered Negroes that we better be considered Negroes than be considered everything, because everything in Brazil makes you nobody.
Mhm.
And another thing, in Brazil, the only race recognized in birth certificate is white. There's no other race. They call you anything, and the only classification that is right, that will be in the birth certificate, is when a person is a white. They're gonna say race white. Everything else is mulatto, is anything else, pardo, whatever.
Oh, and
So
I need your help while we're doing this. We have a whole lot of really, I'm just telling you, dumb, stupid unappreciative black people in the United States who can't find one thing in the last 500 years about being black in the United States that they feel good about. Everything is perfect everywhere but here. In particular, this religious bullshit that I just despise it. I'm disrespecting everyone on here. Onk niggas sicken me to my guts. You know, we've gone from a white dude to now you're gonna follow a person with the head as a falcon or a hippopotamus or a baboon. I mean, you've gone from the ridiculous to the sublime. Not that I like the white Jesus stuff, but you're gonna go after a baboon as a god. I mean, baboons. I mean, the ones that eat their own bowel movement. Someone has a god like that. I mean, and this is like reconnecting to your lost black past. You know what I'm saying? You live in Brazil where they have all of this African religion everywhere. And I want you to explain to people that these folks in these African religions, they're the ones having sex, gay sex, and all kinds of sex with the tourists that come to Brazil. All these African religions don't keep them from getting AIDS. They don't pander to any kind of movement to uplift black folks. They just
no education, no nothing.
These fucked up African gods that don't deliver shit, that have never done anything. And I need you to tell them that the people that do most of the fighting for the rights of black people in Brazil happen to be Protestant black Brazilians, Methodists, Baptists, evangelical. It's the other people are weak. They're sorry. They're in the gangs. They're completely confused, and they're part of the problem. And so people that have been in this stuff, and you also have to talk about the fact that when you join the African religions and you're a dude, you have to be a trans for like 2 or 3 months. And the belief is you have to live as a woman and speak as a woman and dress as a woman, wear makeup and make yourself look like a female for about 3 months. And many people believe that, this is a belief with the people in the religions, that it's the most dangerous part of joining the African religions is that if you join it and you're going through your woman phase, it'll make you into a homosexual. And so large numbers of people who want a covering for being gay join the African religion so they can say, when I went to my initiation, that's what made me want to get screwed in my booty. On top of that, the white people love the African religions because they don't stress a black identity. The devil is black in these religions. The most beautiful god, Yamanya, is a white woman. So everybody loves white women with blonde hair, blue eyes. African religions actually teach homosexuality and black self-hatred. And all the dumbass black people in America are running after religions that teach them to worship white women as the most beautiful. And basically, the American blacks are liars. They want to pretend, and you know what I'm saying, because there's a lot of Yoruba religion in Brazil. You know the name of Obatala, the bisexual god in the pantheon, that a whole lot of people worship, the god that likes having sex with dudes that's a man. And this is a god. This is a god that came from Africa. White people didn't make it. Africans that like having sex with people of the same sex had a god to justify their homosexuality. And large numbers of blacks and whites in Brazil get together around this gay stuff in the African religions. Please validate this for all the coons who are always calling me, asking me about these dumbass religions. They can't stand the church that's got gay people in it that you can see. In a church that denounces this sex, even if they do it, they think that's bad. So they go to a religion that condones the gay sex, but because it's from Africa, it's good.
It's good,
That's crazy. Niggas
and let me say something to you, Dr. Short, is that about this. You see black men go into those religion and they were regular men, and all of a sudden these guys become gays. All of a sudden. It's like a manufacture of gays.
It is the manufacturer. Did you hear that there are a lot of folks in certain voodoo sex. You have to suck the penis and eat the semen of a hungong to get his power. And so this is one of the reasons that you had a big explosion in AIDS in Haiti, was that the Hongongs, even when they had AIDS, if you want my power, you better get busy, had people sucking their penises with AIDS contaminated sperm, and people wanted to have their African religion end up getting AIDS to get close to Africa. Hell, if I never went to Africa, I'm not drinking nobody's sperm. And yet, and a lot of people in voodoo, they lie. They're so interested in pushing these religions, they'll never tell you the real deal. They lie about this. So
what we have also,
these lying ass people.
what we have also in the African religions in Brazil is that they still have sacrifices.
Yes.
They do sacrifices of animals, small animals,
And
pigeons,
large animals. They kill goats
chickens, and goats,
and sometimes children.
and
And they don't
sometimes
talk
children.
about it.
And sometimes children,
They kill
unfortunately.
children. Yes,
Yeah.
they do. And they're going to be the black children. Instead of a chicken or a goat, they can get a black child, someone that wants to make it really be big, give up a baby. This is devil worship. And a whole lot of black folks talking about Africa are devil worshippers, and they're going to burn in hell.
And another thing is that so we have a very, very poor population of blacks in Brazil. We still we have difficult in to find jobs for blacks in Brazil. I was many times reject. They always reject you, asking you for a resume with picture.
Okay, but there's something else. No, use the term. It's called a boa apariencia.
Yes, and they have this. And they ask you
When they have a job listing,
in an ad.
they don't say we want white people. They say boa apariencia.
Good appearance.
Good appearance, meaning you need to be white to get this job.
Yeah.
And I want to say to you, when you're talking about this black Brazilian thing, do these African religions that have millions of followers and so much power, and it's so close to Africa, do they establish jobs or business or opportunities for the people that participate in these dumbass African religions? Go ahead, tell me. What are they doing for the people other than taking their money and keeping them stupid?
Okay. Yeah, this is one of the things that made me see that we were failing something, because we see that we have a lot of people, black people, involved in the African religions in Brazil, but you see a huge poverty among us. Another thing also is that in these religions, people learn how to get drunk, how to get involved with drugs, how to get involved with cigarette, how to get involved with
homosexuality, because they do a lot of this sex and drugs. I've been to it, and they had their little orgies and all after they do their formal things. So when they have carnival, these people in these African religions in particular, they like having sex with white people because they represent the purity and the pure gods. That you have to tell them this. I mean, this is why they want to give it to a white person.
Yeah, and another thing is also people say, well, because it's important to keep our African religions because it's our culture and this and that. But if you research about the priests inside of the African religions in Brazil, you're gonna be shocked that most of the priests nowadays are white. The black priests are the minority.
Right, and they decided, the homosexuals decided to take over the black religions in the 1990s.
And it's everywhere.
And they've got it. And the black people all of you Ankh Negroes, all of you Hotep Coons, those African religions are so easily taken over by whites, and they are now, when the people go to Brazil, they have big homosexual orgies with these African religions as the center part of it.
Yes, sir.
So the African gods are basically the party favors of LGBTQ. Okay, now, and y'all, people up in New York, all those damn Hotep niggas in New York, stop lying. Tell people the truth. And by the way, you have an excuse. You can be a bisexual. You get possessed by one of the Orishas that made you have sex with the man. You didn't really want it, but you've got to give in to the spirit. Once you
Mhm.
get spirit, it justifies drugs, murder, rape, incest, pedophilia,
Anything,
anything because the
anything.
spirit did it, and because of the ancestors. I screwed your child to honor the ancestors.
And that is another thing. They have lots of spells and enchants for people. If you pay, let's say you like the wife of your best friend. You love that woman, and you tell yourself, "I want that woman." You can look for some places like that
But
and say, "I want you to do something because I love this woman. I want this woman." And they do everything. They make you to go and offer food in the streets, but large quantities of food. They can get like an animal and kill an animal and put the name of the person that you want to harm inside of the mouth of the animal like a frog, and they stitch all together, and they put all their offerings, and they put all the orishas statues of there, and with alcohol, with everything else, with cigars that they offer to those entities. And
brother,
all of a sudden, this woman
mhm.
that was loyal to their man, she started having eyes on this guy.
Now, do they have the same thing from Bissau where the woman sangre da bolsita na comida de namorado? Você sabe sobre isso?
Okay, what?
Sangre na comida de namorado.
Uh-huh.
You know about this, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, please tell them. I don't want them to hear it from me. They think I make this stuff up. You have to tell this story.
Um, how do you refer that in English?
Well, I will explain it and then you go into it. When a woman wants a man to fall in love with her, she takes her menstrual fluid and makes a sauce and put it in the food to make the man eat it. And the woman's vagina fluids make a man go crazy.
Yeah.
They do these kinds of things.
They have so many, like so many ways that they use intimus underwear. It is crazy. I don't go too deep on that because you know what, I I stayed out of it. My thing with African religions as a pastor is that I had many encounters with people that were afflicted, acting crazy. Like I had one situation. I was preaching in my church, and all of a sudden I heard a lot of commotion and yellings, and I didn't know what's going on. And I still was preaching, and somebody entered my church, two men and a girl. And this girl, she was yelling crazy, and I noticed there was something spiritual. So I talked to two of my deacons, said, "Go pray for her." And they went to pray. And later on, I went to pray also, and we prayed for her. And this person told her with her own voice, "I am the devil, and I want to kill her." And we had to pray for this person, and this girl was delivered on there. And then she says, what happened to me? And their family said, well, she was trying to leave home. She didn't want to be with us. She was offending everybody, and she said she would kill herself. We brought her to your church because we didn't know what to do with her. This is one of some of the experience that I had with people that were possessed with spirits. The spirits that they call spirits of ancestors. When you ask those spirits to tell you who they are in the name of Jesus, they will tell you exactly who they are. They don't lie about who they are. They are. So, I had so many experiences with that, to the point that we were so upset with what happened to people. And they have meetings in cemeteries. Sometimes they go and they take parts of bodies in the cemetery to be part of their initiation, to be part of their, how can I say?
They're cult.
Yeah.
Now I want
So
to say something.
every Friday in Rio de Janeiro, by midnight, you have people visiting cemeteries to do their cults, to do their singings, and to receive spirits, and to offer food to these spirits every Friday in the cemeteries.
I want to give them something. I want to show them the reason I went to Brazil the first time was because I learned about Candelaria, okay, a massacre, the Candelaria. Let me see if I got this. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna hold on. This is
So before we start, I'm going to say something. And like I said to you, we are the poorest in Brazil. We have the worst jobs in Brazil. And you know what? You go to an African religion, and you have to give food. You have to give food to entities, and it cost money.
yeah,
And you throw that food in the streets, and you can't touch, you cannot eat it. That food goes to waste. The sacrifice of that chicken that you killed and you sprinkle the blood on top of the sacrifice go to waste.
right.
Or
You have to buy.
everything goes to waste. And another thing, we are still poor. And then
See,
when it's time of carnival in Brazil, all these poor people, blacks, they raise so much money and they make the biggest part of the world. It's called Carnival. And guess what happens? They push the cars where the white women dance and show themselves. And most of the people, there's only one black that is responsible for those samba schools that they use to provide the show to the world. So we still pushing cars. We are still on the bottom, although we raise money and we make those millionary shows that happens on our backs.
It sounds like black people here. We always help everybody but ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, let me pull this thing up on here because folks haven't heard about this.
We're here at Candelaria Church in the center of Rio de Janeiro.
Make a big screen.
We're here to remember a massacre 21 years ago when 40 to 60 children were here seeking shelter. They were sleeping outside the church, they would wash in the fountain, they would eat on the grass.
It's good.
And late one night, some cars rolled up and men got out and opened fire on these children. 8 young people were killed where they sought shelter. Street Child World Cup has come here today, represented by 19 countries.
I feel sad. Why? Because they just killed innocent people. siento bien porque aún a esta altura podemos recordar la historia de estos niños que pasaron a como hemos pasado nosotros.
Sí, ahí vamos en Managua.
Esperamos en Dios que los gobiernos recapaciten y que vean cuántos niños han muerto como ellos y que, o sea, que se disminuya esto porque es un sentimiento muy grande y no hay que evitar que esto siga pasando.
We remember the children who died here at Candelaria. We remember the children who have died on the streets across the world because we believe that no child should have to live on the streets.
Are you feeling me, brother?
And this is every day.
I know it's every day,
Yeah.
but for me, that was the first time when you always hear, long before this thing happened, I used to always hear how racially perfect, how happy everything was in Brazil, how everybody was happy in Brazil, how there was justice in Brazil.
Yeah.
And this is what I heard. I didn't believe it because it said, well, it's slavery in Brazil. There's got to be something wrong, at least a little bit. But you have to understand, Black Brazilians are largely invisible, with the exception of Pele, maybe.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's very little, almost nothing to hold on to. And
They invest too much money to keep us invisible.
I need to do an announcement to my channel. When I have friends who escape being sacrificed by voodoo priests who are Haitian, I don't care about little lying folks. There's a type. I wanted to write about this, and I didn't get allowed to. They have this thing, Pastor Selmo, where first and foremost, any nigger, and I'm calling you a nigger if you're on my line, on my channel, that thinks that I'm some kind of coon or sellout or white-minded person, please get the hell off my channel. Okay, this man is a fighter from Brazil. I'm a fighter from the United States. I haven't seen any voodoo people or Ankh people or Hotep people do anything substantive in a major way to help Black people in my 50 years. I have watched them do one thing. They always attack Christianity. And we're clear on the white Jesus bullshit, on the racism and all that. Okay, we get that. But when we're not like that, this nigga has to have a demon in his mind, the one I just blocked, to sit up and try to tell me that Lucifer represents what is righteous. So this person was just on my wall with the Luciferian concept. This is a Satan worshiper. You're not welcome. In Jesus' name and the blood of Jesus, get off of my channel. Take your little satanic spirit in the name of Jesus and go somewhere else with it. We don't want you. Your spirit isn't welcome here. I have never seen in Brazil or any place, not even Haiti, anything to really deliver the people from a Luciferian thing that's holding them down. Now, let's be very clear about it. Racism is morally evil. It's wrong. It's a systemic. We get that. We say it all the time. I'm sitting up here talking about all of this killing of Black people and this demonic Negro. This is what I want to talk to you. This is the spiritual war we're engaged in. We're talking about justice for Black people. And this person talking about we got everything twisted. If I have everything twisted, go away. If I don't know what I'm talking about, what are you here for? Go and reinforce your backward ideas with people who think just like you.
Yeah.
I
Go
don't
see
want
the
to talk.
misery.
I don't want
Go
to
see the
debate.
misery where people are
And
with their religion.
let me say this about all the fake people in this other garbage. Anybody that wants to know what Christianity stands for can pick up a Bible and read it. Where's the Bible of voodoo? Where's the Bible of this Hotep stuff? Where's the Bible for these Luciferian people? In fact, I'm going to read some of the Luciferian stuff and tell you what they actually believe. And if you're for it, hell belongs to you. Enjoy it. But you can actually find chapter and verse and at least hold people accountable for what their beliefs say. I
Yeah.
have never found a scripture or canon of holy. In fact, I left something out. You and I both know, brother, that when it comes to Candomblé, Umbanda, Santeria, and a whole bunch of other stuff, you only talked about the surface. There are people that get very, 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 very deep into these religions and they kill people, they murder people, they rape people, they do all kinds of rituals, they kill folks, they cut up people. And when the police catch them, they tell these people, it happens in America too. We have a huge number of people ritually murdered around people's Luciferian or satanic religious beliefs. And because this country denies that there's such a thing as God, law enforcement doesn't tell anybody. Son of Sam is killing people for the devil. He tells you, Satan told me I went out and hurt these people. Why can't this man's profession, I'm following Satan, I kill, why can't that be recognized? If it was a Christian killing people, they would
Oh, yeah.
have all Christianity for it and drag everybody out in the carpet for it, saying, your scripture says thou shalt not kill. What does Aleister Crowley and his thelema say? His thelema for the new Satanism is do what thou wilt is the full extent of the law. Whatever you want to do it. If that includes killing people, eating people, raping people, burning people, that is their religion.
Yeah.
Whatever they want to do. In Brazil, in Haiti, these things happen. Did I say every person in voodoo did it? No. Did I say some people? Absolutely. You've got people in Christianity doing it. We'll talk about that openly. But there seems to be a conspiracy of silence and phoniness in these other religions where you never hear what really goes on until that person either comes out of it and becomes a believer. They'll never tell the truth of it. But I know what it's like to meet people like Nikki Cruz and others who came up in Santeria and in voodoo, and they can tell you about folks killing babies and sacrifices and devils. This stuff is real. You've
Yeah.
seen it. And I'm not going to tolerate anyone that romanticizes it. I don't need to talk to you. I don't want anyone following me that's a devil worshiper or Satan worshiper. You like Lucifer? Go somewhere else with that. You're not welcome. I'm not interested in debating whether you can sacrifice children or whatever. Christian Crusades, Bantu, I'm not Roman Catholic. And that's another thing. It's a stupid ass comment. The Catholic Church has persecuted genuine Christianity for almost 2,000 years.
Yes.
They killed 70 million people in the Inquisition.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church sanctioned the slave trade and the mass murder of blacks and Indians. So why not take that up with a Catholic, which I am not and have never been?
Yes.
Okay, there's a Roman Catholic religion and there's the Christianity of the Bible. I don't have a pope. I don't need someone to have a stove put out some white smoke for me to know who Jesus Christ on earth is.
Yeah.
I didn't belong to an entity where people criminalize people telling about members in the church raping children. I don't belong to such a thing. It's an insult. Talk to a Catholic about Catholicism. Talk to a Catholic about the Crusades. I'm neither Catholic, and that's sort of forgive me. It's a cowardly, low-life, ignorant, satanic approach. That's like me blaming Black Americans for the Holocaust. There may be some Black people that don't like Jews. We didn't do the Holocaust. You could punish every Black person that would never get to the bottom of how the Holocaust happened. That's the same thing when somebody, I'm a real Christian. A Catholic is a Catholic, a Christian is a Christian. If you don't know the difference, research it.
Oh, yes.
Okay, clearly, Mr. Bantu,
There's a huge difference.
You don't know the difference between a Catholic and a Christian. That's a problem. I've met a lot of people that don't know the difference. The Catholic Church does not consider non-Catholics to be Christian.
Yes.
They don't consider us to be them, and those of us don't consider them to be us. Am I friends with certain Catholics? Sure. I have Catholic people in the family? Sure. I got Buddhists and Muslim in the family. I'm not in their religion. It's different. So anybody Black that isn't smart enough, and I mean that, the dumbest Black people I've ever met are those that are either Catholic, that have never figured out it's not for us, or those that think one size definition of what calls itself Christian is the same. The Catholic Church wouldn't be murdering people over their religion. The Catholic Church wouldn't be having counter-reformations and inquisitions and murdering and burning people over them believing. No, the Pope is not just a regular man. To the Catholic Church, the Pope is Jesus Christ. The Pope rules heaven, hell, and earth. To Catholics, you need to know what Roman Catholicism is. It is different from biblical Christianity.
Totally different.
There's no Pope. There's no Vatican. All the stuff that they're doing is what they want to do. There's no Sunday worship. There are no candles. There are no saints. None of that is in the Bible. That is the Catholic religion. The Catholic religion does what it wants to do. A Christian is supposed to follow what Christ said.
Yeah, but you know, Dr. Short, we have a huge movement from Catholics now trying to bring all the people that rebel against them back.
Well, they're going back. There's going to be a world religion.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church is also merging with Islam. The popes are creating one giant global religion. But sun worship is not Christian religion.
Okay. So right now I debated because some Baptist churches are celebrating one thing called Advent. I don't know if you heard about Advent.
I never.
Advent is totally Catholic.
Yeah, but that's because the people want the respectability. The Catholic Church is rich, it's powerful. A lot of people know about it. But the Catholic Church is, wow, if you look, there's so much similar between Islam and the Catholic Church. If you understand that the Pope speaks as God, not as a man.
He's infallible.
He's infallible. Everything the Pope has ever said is true and is correct. It's perfect. He's perfect. That isn't biblical Christianity. Biblical Christianity teaches there's none righteous, no, not one. Romans 3:10. I'm not right. You not right. Nobody's right. Only God is holy. Okay. The Catholic Church teaches that its popes are infallible. The Bible is very plain. If you have a teaching that goes against what the Bible is, you're not following Christ. You're doing something else.
And it's abomination.
Well, so they talk about this stuff. They talk about Mystery Babylon. There's all this discussion. The scriptures are very plain. If you go back and you look at Martin Luther, if you go back in that time and you look at this, you will find Chrislam is all inclusive, but I agree, but not Christianity. Christianity will teach you there's one truth, one way. It's through Christ. Everything else is wrong. The Catholic Church is saying every way it's pantheistic or pluralistic. Plural meaning that everything, if you worship eggs, that's talking to God. If you worship an anus, that's a pathway to God. You're still talking to God, even if you talk to another person's anus. That's not Christianity. And so all of you need to go to divinity school. Y'all would be, I follow the Bible. Okay. It doesn't matter. Except for there's certain translations that are bad. Okay. So, and he's going to start going off on this King James thing. And there's all kinds of confusion with that. The Bible is good. You want an apocrypha? Because you know what? There's this big conspiracy bullshit thing. They talk about the missing books of the Bible and how they took them out. And you know that being from Brazil, they've got the apocrypha in the Roman Catholic Bible.
Yes.
They've got the apocrypha in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible. I've met a lot of Black Americans who they have an inferiority complex and they also have a God hater complex. It masks itself in being Black and proud, but in reality, if there was so much Black pride and self-respect, the murder rate, the rape rate, the abuse rate, you don't practice any religion. Well, I do disrespect people's beliefs. I do. You're gone. I disrespect people's beliefs. Certain people have stupid ideas. I do. You have a dumb idea, you have a stupid belief, that person, you're gone. I hate Hinduism that teaches that there's a caste system and that certain people can be raped, killed, murdered, abused, and I have to respect that. Any of you, if you're a pluralist or pantheist, get gone. I will delete you, block you, get off my thing. Go with your other people that don't believe this. I don't want 1,000,000 followers. I'm really not that interested. I couldn't address 1,000,000 people. If I get 2, 3,000, wonderful. It's more than I ever dreamed of. If I get 10,000, I'll be overwhelmed. But no, that person's gone. See you later. Okay, I read a lot of different Bibles, Mr. Bantu, lots, and I find basically most of them are the same. In fact, they may word it slightly differently, but ultimately they're correct. There is a move by the Catholic Church to pervert the Bible. They've done this many times. There's a very poor translation called the Vulgate that the Roman Catholic Church has. If you really want to look at Bibles, Brother Bantu, and this is why most people, they don't do church history or Christian history. They come from the pure of slavery as if that's all that's going on. We have to be bigger and smarter than that. There's a lot to learn. The thing I would suggest that you do, Mr. Bantu, is look up vernacular translation because there's a big problem with folks. A lot of Black people, I'm sorry, we're not using our heads. The King James Bible is a vernacular translation. The Wycliffe Bible is a vernacular translation. The Tyndale Bible is a vernacular translation. The King James Bible is perhaps one of the best Bibles ever written and definitely the most influential on Black Americans in resisting their enslavement and Africans on the continent and everywhere else. So let me just be very clear. What most people and they don't do their research. This is why I really don't like the cultural nationalist coons. All they do is spew out garbage to confuse people. Okay. One example is that they don't explain that the Catholic Church did not allow people for almost 1,000 years to own Bibles.
Yes.
They don't know that.
In Brazil, until the 70s, people still were praying in Latin, and they didn't even know what they were saying because they didn't even explain the Latin to them.
Exactly.
And they were prohibited from reading the Bible in Portuguese.
That's the Inquisition. The Catholic Church made Latin the language of the church, but they had their religion, their Catholic religion, where people didn't speak Latin.
The professional.
You did whatever the priest told you to do. You didn't know what Latin meant. You didn't understand it. You didn't go to school, and you lived under that. And that is what the Catholic. That's not Christianity. How can you know what the Bible says if you cannot read or understand it in your own language? The King James Bible is a vernacular translation, so people that spoke English would actually know what was in the freaking Bible for themselves. A lot of people don't realize that. So you had people that spoke German and Alsatian and French and Welsh and Danish and everything's in Latin, but they didn't go to school for education to know Latin. So nobody actually knew what Christianity was beyond what the priest told them. And you could be burned at the stake for owning a Bible, for reading a Bible, for trying to understand the Bible. So forgive me, people who you do not, if you haven't understood the history of what happened with the Catholic Church, with the Bible, and so forth, you don't know what you're talking about. You're coming in 2,000 years later trying to give an assessment of something without knowing the content.
You gotta know.
Black people are weak on content. We get caught up in something that they know is true, that the Apocrypha got removed from the new King James version that came out. But I mean, there are a lot of people who've never read the Apocrypha. You don't need the Apocrypha to know about Jesus. Although
Jesus don't do any reference to the Apocrypha, so
yeah, but no, I do. I like the Apocrypha. I preached from the Apocrypha last Saturday, and I'll do it again. There's more useful stuff in the Book of Enoch and the Apocrypha, but it's different. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Well, that you have to, in Christianity, you do not have to know Hebrew to be a Christian. You do not have to read the Bible in Hebrew to understand. Islam is very, very parochial. It's very, very Arab-centric, where you have to be like Arabs to be close to God. That is not, the Christian faith doesn't teach that. All you have to do is be like Jesus, learn about Jesus to be a Christian. You shouldn't have to speak any other language than what you know. The Catholic Church was using Latin the same way a lot of Muslims use Arabic as a means.
And Jewish people, right?
Means to control people. Instead of people being able to read and study and learn about what they actually believe for themselves, they had to take it from the priests who did all kinds of stuff. The Catholic Church, if you're familiar with Martin Luther, if you look back at the Reformation, the Catholic Church enslaved almost all the people that were white in Europe. They owned almost everything. The people were in superstition. In fact, the Dark Ages in Europe was caused significantly by the growth of the Catholic Church.
Yes.
It didn't allow science. It didn't allow thinking. It did all kinds of strange stuff. I'm not Catholic. And that's the Catholic Church's history. They can get mad at me. I mean, I didn't make them kill people. I didn't make the Catholic Church sign off on mass murdering blacks in India.
And to be honest, Dr. Short, I have a very difficult time to call Catholic a church, because the biblical understanding of a church is where there is 2 or 3 together in my name, I'll be there. That's what Jesus says. So a church is the church is the body of Christ. But when you refer to Catholic Church as a church, you see that the Catholics, if you are a Catholic, you are nobody. You don't decide anything. You don't have a voice. Who has a voice in the Catholic Church? The people who direct the rituals, the priests, the bishops, and the Pope. If you are none of these professional clergy, you don't have a voice. You are there just to pay. Another thing, when they serve the Lord's Supper, you only have the right for the bread. You can drink the blood because the blood is for the priest. So you don't have any rights as a member. You don't have any way to talk anything because you don't decide anything. Everything comes from the top to the bottom. You are there just as a detail, nothing else. So they are not a church. They are an organization, a religious organization. But a church of Christ, they are not. Sorry.
No, nothing wrong with that. A lot of black folks are getting into cults. I know they need order and structure and rules and foundation, but I would warn people when you run after people and they wear strange clothes and they do strange things and you can't do that and you can't eat this and can't go here and all that, that's a cult. The Spirit of God liberates people. The Spirit
Amen.
of Christ liberates people. These cult groups enslave and ruin people. Yahweh ben Yahweh and them did some good, but then they're killing people, beating people, having sex with people's wives, controlling people. You lived in Florida. It's like, my God. We have a lot of cults in our community because our people are confused and have been misled. I don't want to be a cult leader. I don't want a personality cult. I don't want any of that. I'm not interested. I don't think you do either, Brother Selmo. You know, you meet these
No.
preachers, no, they people worship the individual. You go to the church and they've got a bigger picture of the past than they do of God. And you're not supposed to have a picture of God. So why should you have a man's picture in the front of the church? It's insane. It seems as if people should be interested in the principle of community, love, brotherhood, charity, holiness, righteousness, decent living, proper caring about your neighbor. These are not impossible things to do, right? What I find that the black Americans, I guess black people everywhere, they look for slavery in the name of religion. It's like they're gonna find them some slavery. They're gonna find someone to take their money and mess over them.
Yeah.
And anyone that tries to give something that's free, they feel like something's missing.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to go to church, and I can have a church on my phone with 4 or 5 people. We can pray. We're talking about the Lord. We trying to live decently. We support one another. All this idea that I have to put up a big, ugly building and put everybody in the debt and sell fish sandwiches and fried chicken and pies and hustle people. If you read the Acts of the Apostles, it's a very short book. The initial church didn't have all this stuff. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have a building with a spire. It didn't say you couldn't, but it wasn't based on a whole bunch of stuff.
And the church starts in the houses of people.
Yes, that's where the church.
And you know, I had a very big difficulty when I came to America because I was a pastor in Brazil, and in Brazil we used to have home services. Let's say you have a birthday, and they say, I want to give God a service for my birthday. Say, okay, let's go to your home. Pastor, can you come? Can you preach? Yes, I go to your home and I preach the word of God in your home, and then after that we have a piece of cake and some drinking together, some good stuff, and then we celebrate and we love each other and we go home. But when I came to America, I first, because my Brazil Christianity is based on white church from America. So I came to America and said, I wanted to know about black churches. I want to be in a black church because I'm black and I want to have that experience. But I have a great difficulty. Even though I became a assistant pastor in a black church, I never was able to have much communion of people in their homes. It's like their homes were a no. Everything is in the church. So I have very few meetings with people in church, in homes. And I never saw much of a Bible study because in Brazil we used to give Bible studies in people's homes. We sit down together and we have Bible study and things like this. But I have this difficulty when I came to America. People have their houses at their privacy. It's like we're not gonna take it. I'm not gonna take you to my home. My home is my home. Your home is your home. If you want to do things about God, there's a church, there's a temple. and that's what you're supposed to be.
Well, when God is in the temple and not in your home, that's the people that are dying, and that's not just
You're breaking up.
it's not just God not. It says if you have God in your home, you'll have it in church. If you just have God in church, you don't have it in home.
Yes.
Same with black people don't have black history at home, and they expect it in the racist schools. We should be fighting over black studies. We should have it at home.
It's
We
like
should be
people.
so.
It's like people fighting for prayers in the school. Ah, you guys took prayers of the school. Hey, I'll tell you something. If you pray at home, you don't need to have a group of people to pray in the school.
Mhm.
Say something, yeah. And it's law.
And this, I agree with Terrell Pruitt. White people say something and it's law, but when a black man says something, he has to convince you that it's true. Well, brother Terrell, I don't waste time with such people. If they need that, you know what? Later for them. Mr. Ian, um, we don't so much want to do a theology discussion, but I would say this to you: if you some things in the Old Testament were over the top and they're out, and they don't have any bearing on the on Christians. Not all. Most of the Old Testament is borne out in the New, but people eating pork. Pork isn't good for you. I mean, I rarely eat it. I could care less if I had pork. The only pork I like is bacon. Pork isn't really good for you to eat in the first place, but I guess you could eat it if you wanted to, because the difference between the Old and New Testament was that people had to do all of these laws and things, the 600 plus laws and Leviticus and Deuteronomy was for people to have some holiness because people were wicked and people needed something for them to be able to be in good stead with the Most High. But certain things went out. For example, you'd bring up pork, so people could eat pork. But think about it. We no longer have to sacrifice animals anymore because Christ is the perfect sacrifice. The
Yeah.
crucifixion of Christ nullified basically the old law and created a new one. By the way, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. That still stands. But
Yes.
things were dropped. They didn't need them. They didn't need them anymore. Okay, the clothing with fringes, that stuff, that's legalistic that left. So, but
Can I say something about this?
put this up here. Let me put this up here so he'll know. Um, the old laws in the Bible aren't all done away with. So that's your question. No. Some yes, some no. The Ten
Yes.
Commandments is still there. Ten Commandments doesn't go anywhere. But some of the laws, like you couldn't wear woolen drawers, please. These were things for holiness in those times. The If you read the book of Hebrews, it explains the purpose of Christ, which nullifies those things that were necessary, that were ritualistic and legalistic for people to be righteous. That's no longer necessary because of the sacrifice of Christ. So you don't have to
Over.
you have to kill animals and sheep and goats and bullocks and birds. And certain things you can eat that like seafood that may not be perfect for you because it's no longer what you put in your mouth, but it's what you put in your heart in relationship to God.
Yes.
So clothing, which is external, things that are external got tossed out, but not having sex with your brothers and sisters or with children that are discussed in Leviticus 18 and 19 still stand.
Then, yeah.
Be very careful, Ian, because the main people that hate the Old Testament are the rainbow people. The rainbow people hate Leviticus 18 and 19.
Yeah.
In fact, that is the basis of saying to people, you can't do whatever you want sexually. That still stands. Jesus never threw those out. But the clothes, the tassels, and some of that stuff, I mean, you don't have to have a tent with so many rings to have a church. That's gone. Isn't it interesting that people don't use any logic or common sense with the scriptures? They'll look for the absurd thing that's clearly not discussed anywhere in the New Testament.
And one thing, Dr. Short, about the clothing, and I want you to look at Jesus. Jesus never clothed himself as a priest. Jesus never clothed himself as a high priest. He was clothed in a very common way, so common, and he was Jesus. He was so common that when somebody was trying to arrest him, he would go in the midst of the people and he would disappear amongst the people. So, if Jesus was dressed as a religious Jewish person, as a rabbi, because he was called rabbi, he would be easily identified amongst the crowd. But he was not. He was dressed as with the common clothing of his time. And he never want to have those kind of clothing to justify who he was. Never.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you a question. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Bantu, I'll just say this to you, brother. Because we're cool, we don't care. But I challenge you to tell a Muslim to tell Muhammad to call you. Go ahead, make my day. And you'll see what you just did is, whereas me, I'll keep living. But do it with somebody else. Muslims would beat you down because they're legalistic. So, in reality, you need to call Jesus instead of telling Jesus to call you. And Jesus already called you. Obviously, you haven't heard.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Many times.
Yep.
Many times.
Anyway, it's headed towards 1:30. Anything you want to tell people, because we're going to be doing more of these. You have to talk more. In fact, you need to get some other Brazilian people on here. I probably need to get a couple. I need to get you and Allison and Simeon, and we'll talk some more. Thank you for being with me. This is my new light, so I can turn the ugly light off, and I can just versus this fluorescent light that would mess with that. And pretty soon I have a tablet. I'll have a tablet and then other things. But hey, y'all, I have a new microphone. I just have to figure out how to make it work. Today.
That's nice.
That's
nice.
what I was trying to do. Oh yeah, no. The people that are sending donations, trust me, I'm not spending it on white. I'm not trying to get a white girlfriend and move to Brazil and but pretty soon I'll figure out how to make this thing work.
Uh-huh.
And
you have to talk to some young people. Talk to some young people.
Yes, so
they can teach you.
And I had someone else that one of the people. So I have this. I had to turn this thing off because I had this, and I just need to figure out which USB. So I have a microphone, and eventually I'll be able to interview people. And of course, how do y'all like my black curtain? I was blessed with two. You can see a little green at the end. That's kind of rude, but so I have a green screen, and of course, black for my bigoted brothers and sisters. And we have to talk more. You know what? Before you go, let's talk about Obama. And I'll talk about your Obama, Celso Peter. Someone asked a question about black political people, and
Who's my Obama?
well, Paj, hold on, Celso Peter.
Oh, Celso Peter in the past, right? It's a long time.
Yeah, they don't know it, but that's okay. Look, I can. In Brazil, they have their version of the Democratic Party, which is Partido Trabalhadores, right? The
Yes.
Socialist Workers Party, PT,
Yeah.
PT or PST, which one?
PT.
PT,
PT.
Partido Trabalhadores,
Yeah, like PT.
PT, and they're the Democrats. They sort of do something for black people, and I have to tell all of y'all, if y'all like Obama, didn't Obama mess you black Brazilians up by putting the dictatorship in? Obama's responsible for a lot of black Brazilians getting killed, losing their jobs, being murdered. Obama did this, y'all, to the blacks in Brazil. Obama, Susan Rice, and Hillary Clinton worked and destroyed the first government in the history of Brazil that tried to do anything for black people. Obama destroyed the Brazilian government that wanted to help black people. They stole the election.
Yeah.
They brought about mass suffering. So all the dead black people in Brazil, all of you coons that like Obama and defended him for being on the Breakfast Show, this is what you voted for black people to be murdered and marginalized in Haiti, Brazil, Libya, Ivory Coast. Y'all are so proud of this. Y'all should be disgusted. This is why I don't hang out much, Selmo. A lot of black Americans are so dumb that they got fooled by this dude. And Obama just messed y'all up. Obama messed you guys up really bad. The blacks in Brazil were beginning to push for reparations and affirmative action, and Obama and them helped put in a racist Nazi white government to push the blacks down. This is what bushy boule black people that didn't just do it to us, but they screwed the blacks in Brazil too. Somebody needs to tell y'all that. So when y'all hear me cussing out Obama, this is a good book to have. It's called Confront
and Counsel.
Oh yeah,
Confront and Counsel.
Oh yeah, you know I have my negative Obama book collection. Everybody know I can't stand Obama. Hold on, let me turn this up.
Well, one thing that makes me very, very, very sad about Obama is that I watched that documentary, Turn to the Other Side. It's upside down. Yeah. I watched the documentary about what's the name of the city in
Flint.
The problem of the water. Flint.
No, you mean New Orleans.
No, Flint.
Flint. Yeah, he dogged New Orleans too.
Oh yeah. So Flint. When I watched that documentary, a lot of black people called Obama to help them to end the problem with the water. That guy asked, "Give me a glass of water," and they gave him a glass of water, the supposed water that people were being poisoned.
Right.
And he did this.
Right.
The water is safe. And I look at it and I saw a lot of black people looking at each other like, what is he saying?
Well,
what is that?
Obama doesn't care a damn about them. You know,
I said, God, what is that?
Obama would need to put black folks in the furnace and burn them before they got it. And I don't know who's going to mass kill black Americans, but someone's going to do it because you can't tell them. There's going to be great suffering here. There's just no way. Can't do anything. You can't make them think. Can't tell them nothing. And this is why, that's why I'm not patient with people like this little idiot that was talking about Lucifer being God. And you see, I watch him. I don't need any fans like that. You like the devil? Please get away from me. You will definitely be a black person. I don't like coons. In fact, in my view, a coon is a Satanist. A Satanist is the worst coon. Okay, and I'm just going to say this to you because, brother Selmo, one of the things I've been trying to do is show people the link between satanic people, Satan worshiping people, and the black movement and how they've been using this. Another one, um, the amateur Edward Klein.
Mm-hmm.
For y'all to know, I, I don't really care about ignorance. I mean, we shouldn't have any patience for it. We're the only people that tolerate that. Um, I challenge anybody: be very careful. Um, be very careful about who you believe in, or who you trust. Test everything. But I'll just
Yeah.
tell you, Obama lied to black people. Black people like being lied to. I genuinely believe that Obama's a Muslim. I don't believe Obama's a Christian. I'm not even mad at him for being Muslim, but he couldn't admit to being Muslim and be president of the United States. Obama did
Uh-huh.
all kinds of stuff to support Islam. I mean, he's very good to Islam. And I mean, he was definitely good to Muslims. He wasn't good to black people. Black folks don't know what time it is, and they'll learn the hard way. You know, you try, you warn people. You're supposed to try to tell people what's going on, but it's sort of like being a drill sergeant, someone that teaches people, and that you give them the basic training in the military. Some people are going to get shot in the field because they didn't listen to what they were taught in basic training. But you tell them whether they listen
Yeah.
or not. And so
Yeah.
the scriptures say in season and out of season. And right now we're out of season because we have all these people who think that an opinion is equal to a fact. It's like thinking an anus is equal to a mouth or a vagina. It has a very different function, even though it's a whole. And you know, our folks just make everything the same. We do
Mm-hmm.
that to one another, but we don't do this with white people. Uh, I don't know where. I would think Obama's an American. I think Frank Marshall Davis is Obama's daddy. I think that Trump and other people that were questioning Obama's nativity, if you've looked at it, if you looked at Obama's birth certificate that he put out, it said his race was African. Any person that's not a moron knows that they can go and do their research and understand that African isn't a race
And it's not a country.
and it's not a country. So, no, and North African is white and American State Department documentation. And sub-Saharan African or true Negro or sub-Saharan African is black. To just put African down isn't a proper term that would have been used
No.
for
No.
anybody. And so for someone to say that his birth certificate didn't have problems is nuts. You cannot fill in government documents of that sort without the terms of what their racial classification being had to match what was used. It would have been mulatto or colored or maybe Negro, but not African. I know Africans who don't have African on their birth certificate.
Yeah.
The only person I know with African on the birth certificate. And the person that was researching or working on that birth certificate didn't that person die in some freaky plane crash? There have been all these people that die and get sick and nobody can know anything. This is some CIA stuff. People need to just be honest. Black people got had, had. We got played, and Obama was a big practical joke on black folks, and we still haven't figured out we got chumped. And it's yes, like someone pointed out that Jamaican is a race, not a nationality.
Yeah.
People in the chat room, let's be real with one another. Um, if y'all are rude to one another, or should say, we don't need to do this. But anyway, enjoy it while you can, because I know folks, and don't worry, I'm going to have a moderator soon, and my moderator won't be as nice as I. Moderator will just shut stuff down. But I will recap my rules. Please don't put Luciferian things in my feed. Please don't come up in here advertising Satan. I would never go to a Satanist event and talk about Jesus. I wouldn't want a Satanist to come into my, we need segregation. The Bible says, have no fellowship with the works of unrighteousness. So wicked people have no business associating with me, nor me with wicked people. It's now 1:34 a.m. in the morning. Pastor Selmo Hayes, I truly appreciate you talking. I hope you come back and talk with us again. I absolutely hope that you come and bring even more stuff. In fact, I'm going to get together some other things on Brazil. I used to have a lot of stuff, and we can even talk about Calca and Buenaventura and Cali and Medellin and Choco State and Bahia, and we can talk more about blacks in Colombia, Brazil.
Bahia is a case of a big study because it's the state that has more blacks in Brazil,
and the blacks have nothing,
and they cannot put even a black mayor in Brazil in Bahia. They can put a black governor in Bahia
because but you know what?
And is the state that has more candomblé, more umbanda, more everything you can think.
Place with all the African religions and African culture, all the black.
It's the sanctuary. If you want to know all the major old houses of worship of the African religions, they are in Bahia. They are in Bahia. They are in Bahia. Everything, and it's the major, also the major connection between Catholics or the Catholic rights and the African beliefs rights. They merge in Bahia.
You mean it's called syncretism?
Syncretism. They are merged in Bahia. It's like you go to the Catholic Church and you go to the African beliefs. There's no. You can be Catholic and you can be son of an Orisha. there is no problem with that. The syncretism is so huge in Bahia. That's why Bahia don't go anywhere. It's Catholics. They dominate over blacks in the African beliefs. They dominate, and they still think they have a great relationship. There is a famous singer from Bahia. That he says in one of his songs, he says, "Enough, God or Orisha." It says, you gotta get one or another. You can have both. He's not Christian, but in one of his songs, he says, enough. You get a God or you get Oshala. That's an Orisha. You to see that. Bahia is a case in its own. It's crazy.
Very backwards. All the black women are running after white women. All of them smoke weed, drugs, no dignity, and they're always boasting about how great.
The carnival in Bahia is the most clear carnival when it comes to segregation. They have a corridor with whites in the middle and blacks on one side and blacks on another, and the police hitting the blacks to not get into the space of the whites. That's Bahia.
I've been to Bahia. I prefer Belo Horizonte, São Paulo, or Rio to
Uh-huh.
Salvador. The black people there were really not in touch with reality.
Uh-huh. It's like a black professional blacks. It's all culture. It's all what American says BS.
Okay.
It's all culture. There's nothing else. Everybody's sold by
Now,
culture.
I want you to take 2 minutes while we're still doing this, because what are some of the good things that Black Americans have that Black Brazilians don't have, that you think Black Americans take for granted? If you had to tell Black Americans what they could take stock of living in America with all of its issues, because Black people here never think that we've got anything that
Okay,
we're
I'll tell you right now. Um, African Americans can find jobs.
sometimes.
Yeah, if they look for, they find. If they go to school, if they do a good profession, they can get out of their area and go straight to the middle class. Brazilians has very difficult mobility between so does this influence the government policy? Okay. Brazil has very little mobility between classes. Over here, you have about 100 black colleges. In Brazil, we have one. We are majority in Brazil. We have one black college. You guys are minority in America. You have 100 black colleges. If blacks in America complain that they have a hard mobility between classes, I will tell them immediately. Every 4 years, if you have 2,000 people by college, you have 2,000 times 100. This is what you have every 4 years. You throw those people in the American society, and they have a chance to, depending on the course that they study, they have a chance to go straight to the median class. Right now, for instance, I give you a case that everywhere you can check. Anybody who gets a nurse course becomes a registered nurse. Anybody in America can get a job and go from $12 an hour to a $50,000-$60,000 a year, because the medical profession, especially nurse, is crying for people. And we know there's a lot of black people in the medical profession, especially nurse, as RNs. Okay, you have also the other professions like IT and these areas. The companies are crying for people. We need so much that we bring a lot of Indians to work in America because of the need. So a lot of black people that goes in these areas that are needing people. They have the opportunity to get a place, to get a start, a beginning. Brazilians, even if you go to the college, we have to deal with the good appearance. We will not be chose because we don't have the appearance that the market desire. So I can tell you that we are very we cut people in the very beginning.
Nuclear scientists like this, a man whose name you won't.
Okay, so we're asking if Israel influenced the government policies in Brazil. I don't know officially, What I know is that Brazil has a good relationship with Israel, and right now the president of Brazil, the actual president of Brazil, he wants the influence of the government of Israel government more and more in Brazil, but not in terms of social politics, but in terms of helping Brazil to develop technologies. That is the only thing that I know about Israel and the influence in Brazil.
Okay, so you mean to tell me that there's no strong Jewish influence in Brazilian society, financial or cultural?
Oh, there is.
Okay,
Oh, there is.
now then say that. I was surprised that you said, "Oh my God." I mean,
Oh no, that is. And another thing, I see a difference between Jewish in Brazil and Jewish in America. Because some Jewish in America, they at least they can say, well, we have some kind of similarities with blacks, with the struggle of blacks coming from slavery. Because one time we were a slave as a people in Egypt, but in Brazil or Jewish people, they are far from even think about talking to blacks about slavery and this and things like that. No, they really don't. They act just like white people in Brazil. They do the same thing that white people do. When white people close the job for blacks, they do the same.
well, they do the same here too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all, but many. There are good ones. There's always good people in every group, and there are also wicked people in every group.
Yeah, but we don't see Jewish people to ever in Brazil. There, for my 30, I lived 35 years in Brazil. I never saw Jewish people try to come together with blacks to help blacks in anything. No, I never saw.
It doesn't really happen here either.
If it's happening right now, I don't know because I don't live there for since 2001. But until 2001, I never saw those kind of coalition. I never saw those kind of similarities or nothing.
It's not a coalition. Como se dice comida de canon?
Comida de
Canon,
canon.
like a cannon, like a big artillery.
Oh, okay.
Como,
I got you.
what is it?
Canhão. Say canhão.
Okay, exactly. Para nós.
Bucha de canhão. We call bucha de canhão.
Huh?
We call bucha de canhão.
Okay.
It's the bullet that goes into the cannon.
Okay, but we are comida de caminhão.
Mm-hmm.
Ok, nós negros somos usados pelos judeus aqui. E vocês têm um movimento que trabalha para a causa judeu, como Carra Negro, se chama Black Lives Matter. É um movimento dos judeus marxistas. So there is a coalition, you do have it. And você sabe que os judeus eram os principais na importação dos africanos.
Com certeza.
País,
For sure.
Anyway.
And this shocked me a lot because I didn't have this data in Brazil. When I came to America, I started learning that the Jewish people were the owners and the people who put money on the ships and the fabrication of ships, and they paid for those people to go there and take you run to the see that's one thing that don't, it's not far from what happened today in Brazil, because they had to make Africans drunk to get whatever they want from Africans. So they commercialize run for slaves.
Okay.
So the same thing that happens in Brazil right now, black population, most of the black population is so into beer, is so into alcohol,
Right.
It's the same thing.
Eu quero saber se os judeus controlam a mídia, esportes e a droga, as atividades ilegais como o dinheiro e
Mhm.
a música negra. Porque aqui nós somos dominados pelo este grupo de oprimidores judeus
Mhm.
que usam as finanças, poder, o controle dos negros.
Uh-huh.
Mas quando nós reclamar contra esse tipo de atividade de explotação, os judeus, diga nós, os brancos fáceis, não nós.
Uh-huh.
Okay, is it the same?
It is because of because they are the ones who has the money. They are the ones that dominate the money. If you have so much money, you buy whatever you want.
Okay, see, because the same thing happened
Yeah.
in America. Rap music was positive. Then it became sucio.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In
Yes.
Brazil, happy era positivo.
Yes.
Depois,
Yes.
mudar.
Mhm.
A influência dos judeus, né? Quem controlou as empresários das gravação da música? Is it them?
I cannot tell you exactly, but it's something that I can look into.
Okay, so
I can look into.
we're going to have a second discussion, and we're going to talk about Brazilian culture, and we can talk about blacks, and we can talk about Arabs and Indians and so forth, and we're also going to talk about Judeos. That's you guys. And by the way, I always tell people on multiple sides of my family, we got Jews, either Jewish people owning, selling, buying, and I'm just telling you what, and I don't hate nobody. I'm not mad. I'm just saying what is.
Yeah, but we know for sure that many areas in the United States that are so rich was reached by the commerce of black people by Jewish people.
And Bahia is dominated financially. Pernambuco, Alagoas, Sergipe, as Nordeste é controlado pelos judeus ricos. Okay, rich Jews control the blackest part of Brazil where everybody's broke off.
Yes.
Just like the ghettos here. I said it. I don't care who doesn't like what I said. Okay. All right.
And it's sad because we're supposed to have a great relationship. A great relationship with
União como nós, nossos irmãos judeus.
Yeah, but they use it us to make money.
Okay.
And they make us drunk. They made us drunk to get the most important possession we have is our lives.
Como sua opinião sobre a crime organizado no Brasil? Judeu ou ingleses ou árabes? Quem? Que grupo domina esse sector da economia lá?
But when you say organized crime in Brazil, people used to say that the drugs are a product of the organized crime in Brazil. I will say yes and no, because you have a clear distinction between the drug dealer and the sellers of the drug. The sellers of the drug, they are rooted in those black segregated communities. They can even get out, because if they get out, they die. So I come to know a guy in Brazil that for me to get to him, he was in a high hill in Brazil. My cousin took me to him. He wants to know about the Lord. And I said, okay, let's go. And I'll talk to him about the Lord. So we went to the hill. And every time we advanced to get to the top of the hill, we had a like a 8, 10 years old boy with a gun on one side and a radio on the other. He's coming. He's coming. So when I got to the top, I had 4 or 5 guys fully armored with terrible strong guns. And I start talking about Jesus to that young man. And he was not black, he was a white man. He was a very, very educated white young man, but he was the guy who was the dominating the hill with drugs. But he was not the drug dealer. So when you call that organized crime, no, it's not the organized crime. Organized crime is what happens before that drug got into the hill. And this organized crime has police, has attorneys, has politicians, has judges, has border patrol, has what else?
We get the idea.
All these people that are high in the society in Brazil, they are the participants of those organized crime. But the people that are below, they are sellers. They only sell drugs that they come. So there's no such a thing as organized crime in the area. Organized crime is it's the elite of Brazil. That's not the organized crime.
And this has to be.
And they never go to jail.
This is going to be the worst show I've ever done because I haven't been cussing. So, see, it's so funny. If I don't use like bad language, people don't listen. If I use some bad language, man, I'll get like 1 million people.
Wow.
He cusses so much. I don't have to cuss. We can talk about everything else. In fact, I like to speak your language. It's lots of fun. It's muito.
Well, some people think that cursing is liberating.
It is liberating. Cursing is liberating. Kicking that Satanist off of my thread was very liberating. Yes, everybody that wants to worship the devil, please get off it. Don't follow me. I don't believe in begging people to learn about God. To me, I think hell is there for a purpose. It's sort of like a toilet and a trash can. And so if you want to put your soul in it, go ahead. There's somebody, it's sort of like selling a product. Certain people don't want to buy. They want to waste your time as a salesperson.
Yeah, no.
Don't waste my time. You want to go to hell, go.
Yeah. And one thing that also, one day I would like us to talk about is that who is Jesus in the American society?
Well, he's a white dude that can't stand black people.
Or who is Jesus in the UK society, in the UK empire? Because I'll tell you something, the Jesus that the churches are selling is not the Jesus of the Bible. Mm-hmm. So they strip Jesus from his, first of all, they strip Jesus from his nationality, from his ethnicity, from his authority, and from his deity. So the Jesus that we see nowadays is a nice guy. He's a guy that wants to shake hands with everybody.
And he's got
smiling and receiving everyone.
And he has a big rainbow flag. He probably has some lubeless glitter to give to everybody.
Yeah. Because you know why they do that? Because they can't stand the real Jesus. Because his words are so strong and so exclusive. Mm-hmm. They don't stand the exclusiveness of his message. And therefore they strip him from everything and they present something else. And people is crazy about this new Jesus, but
okay.
We need to go back to the Jesus of the Bible.
And it's I just want to say to you, as we say in English, MFM, and for you it would be my fudendo dinero.
Wow.
My fudendo dinero. My fudendo dinero. Reparações agora. Eh?
Uh-huh.
Reparations now. MFM. I'll say it again to y'all. My fudero dinero. MFM in Portuguese. Okay, he's gonna get in trouble. He's not supposed to laugh. MFM, everybody. I'm signing out. It's exactly 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Dr. Randy Short. This was a Coonbuster special international edition for all you ADOS people, for all you folks at the FBA. I still reach out and deal with people from all over the world, but charity starts at home, just like you need to wipe your own behind before you wipe anyone else's, right? You need to clean
Yes.
out your own big boogers before you touch somebody else's nose, right? MFM, God bless you. Yeah, we're gonna talk more about religion. I don't even have to cuss as much. I'm gonna get out the Bible and make all the spirits get out, all the evil people to get out of my channel. Okay. God bless y'all. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Hey,
Good
y'all,
night.
don't forget, send me some donations. There are a couple of books I want to get. I found out there's this woman that's created neo-Nazism, who's an Italian woman that got into Hinduism that's connected to Kamala Harris and Hitler. There's a Kamala Harris connection to Hitler. I can't wait. You know I can't stand Kamala, and she's a tramp, right? Um, I got a couple books I want to get. I hope y'all got like my black screen. So I've got a green one. I'm gonna get some African red, black, and green flags. I have again a microphone and a stand, and I'm trying to make my mixer so we'll have better sound. And I am gonna get a tablet from one of my supporters. Thank you guys for the equipment. And we're going to do an Angry Black Man's book thing again. I've got a bunch of new books. I buy them cheaply. Keep it coming. Share this. Endorse the channel. And I'm going to try to make this monetize this thing as well as make the scanner work. So as I'm learning to do the tech stuff, I'll try to improve this. I'm sorry about the teeny phone being the visual, but I'm going to learn how to do better. Y'all keep pushing, and please come back, Brother Selmo. I'm going to get
Uh-huh.
Allison, and we need to arrange a trip. In fact, we do need a Portuguese class if someone wants one. I put up Selmo's email. You can email me. We should do a Portuguese class and drop some. He could probably do it over Skype. Allison does Portuguese over Skype. If you want someone that can teach you Portuguese, you can and we need to do something. And I'm not just talking about go down to Brazil to be tourists, but do some business. There's money. We black folks are going to have to get into trade and commerce. I do talk a lot about problems, but trade, commerce, farming, cosmetics. Black Americans are super popular in Brazil. That's the one place in the world where people actually don't hate you for being a Black American is Brazil. I love it. Can't wait to go back. 20 years is too long. Okay, I'm out of here. Love everybody. Treat everybody like they're white because we still don't love one another. It's a real problem. Treat people better. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Strap up. Collect seeds. Do something for yourself. And remember, God is real. We need God. This plague could be solved by our people turning to God. You may not see me again for a minute because I'm going to Georgia to fight against War Nuts. If you guys want a copy, email me. War Nuts' church is one of the churches that fought for same-sex marriage in Maryland. By the way, if you know any Black Mexicans, I don't really know any. I know Black Colombians. I've met all kinds of Blacks.
Black Mexicans.
Well, they exist, but they tend to hide.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. I hope y'all didn't max out the ET card. Okay. Bye. We're out.
God bless you. Take care. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.